excellent. Eric and Darrell are live. E&D live. Oh, E&D live. Oh yeah. E&D live. Oh, E&D live. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Eric and Darrell are pretty cool. Eric and Darrell are totally rad. Eric and Darrell are excellent. Eric and Darrell are live. E&D live. E&D live. E&D live. E&D live. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
At Showbiz Pizza, you can act like a kid. You can have more fun than you ever did. You can giggle, you can wiggle, you can flip your lid. Showbiz Pizza, where a kid can be a kid. At Showbiz Pizza, you can turn it loose. Make 'em laugh, have some fun, be a silly goose. You're a kid, shout it out, that's what we're all about. Showbiz Pizza, where a kid can be a kid. At Showbiz Pizza, now the lights are out. Empty booths, broken games, robotic limbs strewn about. A child's paradise turned into despair. Haunted by visions of a fat gorilla that's no longer there. Oh, Showbiz Pizza, your glory days past. A kingdom of joy that just couldn't last. Explaining to our kids why we're so weird about some pizza place that disappeared. Fuck Showbiz Pizza, the pizza wasn't even that good. Yo, E to the D. You're locked on E&D. Let's go. Live and direct. Turn the volume up. It's E&D live. Overflow your cup. Yo, check the vibe. Yo, check the vibe. Eric dropping the beat. Darrell in the mix. Keep it wild on repeat. Cut it up sharp with a scratch so precise. E&D live, bringing flavor. That's nice.
Darrell in the place. Eric on the bass.
E to the D. Now shake the space.
E to the D, it's on tonight. E&D, left the vibe just right. E to the D, come on, feel the flow. E&D, now start the show. Slice it up.
Yo, it's Eric. Yo, it's Darrell. On the ones and twos, now watch us unravel. Mixing it tight, taking over the night. E&D live, turn it up, that's right. E to the D, it's wild, it's lit.
Feel the beat, don't stop. E&D, turn it up, make it pop. E&D, rock the crowd, that's true. E&D, know what you're gonna do. Taking it to the next level. Mic check 1, 2, lights flash blue, chat room functional on YouTube. Synchronized watches, time moves slow, minutes remain until the E&D live show. Eric and Darrell, systems go. They know things we'll never know. Eric and Darrell, they are super bad. Like holy shit, they're totally rad. Connection solid, bandwidth strong. Hope the stream lasts all night long. The signal is green, pipeline is clear. E&D live draws near. Eric and Darrell, sisters go. They know things we'll never know. Eric and Darrell, they are super bad. Like holy shit, they're totally rad. Go, 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 go. Eric and Darrell. Go, 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 go. Eric and Darrell. Go, 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 go. E&D live. Hell yeah, dude.
Flim flam whizzle hop blippity bop, wiggle waggle ziggity zap, don't stop. Fribble frabble whizzle wub a little bit. Eric and Darrell are awesome as shit. Wobble wibble zappy zap, hey hey hey. Jibbity jabbity, all day we play. Shickety shackety, flippin' the vibe. Hold on tight, it's E&D live. Eric and Darrell, the kings of the zizzle. Eric and Darrell, bring in the whizzle. Eric and Darrell with a bop and a bizzle. Eric and Darrell, making it sizzle. Oh yeah, do-do-do-do-do. Bloop blap zizzle zap, crank up the beat. Flim flam razzmatazz, move your feet. Shamalama ding dong gabbity get. Eric and Darrell are awesome as shit. Wibby wubby ziggity zoom, let's go. Shifty shifty twisty twisty, oh whoa. Flickety flappity thrive and jive. Eric and Darrell, it's E&D live. Eric and Darrell, the legends of fun. Brighter than 1,000 suns. Wild and wicked, they always thrive. Make some noise for E&D live. Oh yeah! Do 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 do. Boopity beep bop biddly bop. Eric and Darrell just can't be topped. Snizzle snazzle pippity pow. All hail the duo, give 'em a bow. Eric and Darrell, they're one of a kind, bringing the magic to blow your mind. Show's about to start. High five! Forever and ever, it's E&D live.
My boyfriend's mom loves Eric and Darrell. She loves them more than her designer apparel. Do-do-do.
Authorities agree Eric and Darrell continue to kick ass across the board with no signs of slowing down.
Eric and Darrell are awesome!
We love Eric and Darrell.
Eric and Darrell are totally excellent. Eric and Darrell are totally excellent.
People of this great nation, we stand united in the face of
General, I need to inform you, Eric and Darrell are about to go live on YouTube.
Our boyfriends' moms love Eric and Darrell.
We're witnessing a full-scale takeover. Eric and Darrell have kicked so much ass, the charts can't even keep up.
The wait is over. Eric and Darrell are going live.
What are you doing there? Okay. What is this? What's that?
Oh! Welcome to Eric and Darrell Live featuring Larry.
Hey guys, how's it going?
The metalhead teen himself is here.
That's right. I am.
Tonight.
Yes.
Wow, guys, it's been a minute.
It has been a few minutes.
What happened?
I just show up when you tell me to.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
So.
Yeah. Well, we didn't show up for the last show, so I guess there just wasn't a show.
We've been trying to go month to month, but yeah, June turned out to be kind of difficult. Had a lot of issues.
Well, actually, a lot of good things have happened, not really issues. Okay. E&D are living the dream. We've always wanted to produce and direct music videos on a commercial level in the industry.
This
and
is
that's literally what we're doing right now.
Yep.
We were busy in last month doing...
shot 2 music videos.
Doing pre-production and production and the post-production all in 1 month.
Yeah.
Twice, 2 music videos done.
Back to back.
So what you're saying is you were doing real work and you didn't have time.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you're curious, on YouTube, the channel name is Charlie Reese Music, Reece, not S. Charlie Reese, we've done 2 music videos for him. We have a 3rd one coming out that is super epic.
Yeah.
It's the biggest
Hell of a
one
lot of
we've
fun.
done ever.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I don't get to see that one yet.
But we're back on a roll. We're doing this every month.
It's not out. It's not done.
Yeah, it's not done.
Don't be sad that we weren't here. Be glad that we are now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Way to have a positive spin.
I'm trying to be more...
less Eeyore, more Tigger?
Yeah. I had a friend tell me that I needed to be a little bit more Tigger and less Eeyore.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going for.
Yes.
But...
Oh, there's a big hairy butt in the room.
Oh, hey. Excellent.
Plenty to be sad about.
Well,
that's right.
It's
yes.
true.
I mean, as of course everybody knows, the Metal Nation lost its founding father very recently.
Oh, I'd never really thought of it that way. I mean, and I guess it's entirely accurate, right?
I think that's...
That band, Black Sabbath, is what established
kind of that
the
sound.
term heavy metal.
I think everybody's in agreement on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think historically you can't get around it.
So I think that's probably true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
So sorry to lose Ozzy, and certainly thoughts and best wishes for fans worldwide, his family and friends that knew him, and all of that. But I think I would be remiss, given the long career. Ozzy did this longer than I've been alive.
Yes.
And
1970, I think.
And he had a reputation at times for being a bit of a party animal. So I think it would only be appropriate.
Party animal.
If we were to bring out the Kraken.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
And maybe we all just have a little shot.
You're gonna pull from the jug.
Oh my God.
All right, here's mine.
You just went all in
there.
dude.
We're gonna just pour a little bit
Wow.
of this.
All right.
Rum shots.
Yeah, we have a shot of rum, but I'll be making myself a rum and Coke here in a minute. So.
Look at that. Oh, okay. He's doubling up there. All right. So.
Get that ready. And, I always prefer the cherry Coke.
Look at that. He came prepared.
Not Pepsi.
What are you're making your drink now so you can chase it with your...
Well, like the...
What's going on? Yeah.
I can't see.
Yeah. Johnson in the house with a super chat.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Eric, Darrell, Larry, and fellow E&D heads, Ed heads. To quote a great man, I love you all. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
So, Larry, lead us in this tribute.
Yeah.
All aboard! Hey!
Cheers.
Rum and Coke to chase.
That was good.
Woo. All right.
So what's on the schedule for tonight?
So we have a bunch of stuff. We have some surprise guests. Can't tell you. It's a surprise.
Hey, that's how that works.
We do have Mark Weiss, and we will talk about that in just a second because there's exciting things going on here. We have a lot of stuff for the second half. Just tons of reboots, remakes. You know how it is. You know, this is the 40th anniversary of like everything that happened in 1985. And a lot of stuff happened in 85. Back to the Future, Live Aid, just a lot of different bits. There's a string of things that happened in 85. So all this stuff is just happening right now, and it's being announced and stuff like that. So I have a huge list right here in my docs. We'll get to that. Some of this stuff is freaking exciting, really, really exciting to me. New Beavis and Butthead, but don't tell anybody. I'm super excited about that. Didn't really have anything to with 40th anniversary, but let's see. Yeah. So lots of surprises, basically. I don't really want to say exactly what's going to happen on this show, but it's going to be it's going to be really cool.
Yeah,
we got all queued up and ready to go.
But we do have a very special guest for a large portion of the show. Our good buddy Mark Weiss.
Yes.
I don't know. We've been talking about doing this for a couple of months now.
Right.
And it was just kind of like just hanging out with a buddy, but he's got a lot going on, so we want to talk a little bit about like what's going on with him before we bring him on.
Right. And actually, to ease you into that, we have lots of magazines here.
Yeah,
with Ozzy on the cover, right? Ozzy was everywhere. He was in all the covers.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, he was like
amateur
the leader.
hour. What's up?
Oh, you got a phone call?
Yeah. Oh, I think.
Mom, is this you?
He's got to take this, apparently.
I am live on Eric and Darrell right now. Can I give you a call back in a little bit? All right, make sure you tune in on YouTube. We got some big surprises going
Debbie?
on. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
I thought that said Bill.
Yeah, her phone's messed.
Okay.
You forgot to tell her Beavis Butthead's coming back, but anyway.
Oh, well.
Anyways, okay. Before we get in the nitty gritty here,
okay,
let's just talk generally about magazines. Like,
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, back in the day, I know.
Cool.
Well, yeah, all three of us, because you plastered your room with little clippings from them, and I know we would go and
absolutely, we'd walk. That famous video of us walking to Sunburst Records right across the street was Big Brother's grocery store.
Yeah.
And they always had Metal Edge and Rip and Faces and all of that.
Okay. You said Faces. That's interesting. Because Circus, like we've got
Circus seemed like a legitimate publication.
We've got a Circus.
Ozzy.
I remember Circus. Absolutely. I remember Hit Parader. Hit Parader was probably my preferred.
I would go Metal Edge. I think I'd go Metal Edge.
Or Metal Edge, but like
Edge, yeah.
Let's be honest. Back then, if it had Motley Crue, then
that's true. But okay, Faces.
About these.
I do not remember this magazine.
I owned this magazine. This very not this
I
copy,
just love
but
this.
a copy of this very magazine.
I just love this.
And I realized, and it's also got Ozzy on the cover, I realized that some of our listeners there,
So you would buy Faces. I never owned any Faces.
if it had Motley Crue on the cover, I was buying it.
Metal Edge, I
That's
remember,
true.
is probably the most that I've seen.
Because that freaking logo of theirs, right?
But
Oh
let's-
yeah.
the Metal Edge. it
Look,
was-
we've
just-
got to bring it
Yeah.
back, and we have to make sure that the viewers understand and that they know. This is for me, not for you.
1 second.
So Mark, literally, I don't mind telling people, that's like the thing that gets me a little starstruck. I don't get starstruck very often, but you realize, for those of you that may be not familiar with the name, you're certainly familiar with the work, right?
Oh, there's no way around it.
We lived our entire childhood through his lens.
You had to have posters on your wall. You had to have the images of the music, the bands that you loved,
absolutely,
around you at all times, and someone had to capture them. And
Yeah.
and even if you didn't know
the name at the time,
like who did it, like
And I do
sought after those images.
Yeah, I do remember always seeing like Weiss guy.
Yeah.
Like I always remember seeing that in the magazines back then. And of course, being a teenager, you were like, God, how awesome must that have been to be able to, meet these, bands and do their photo shoots and stuff. And so, as we've progressed on with the show and some of y'all's professional endeavors, I've been allowed to kind of tag along with. I got to, I got to meet Mark and hang out with him a couple of times and talk with him. And it's just really amazing when, and you guys will see this through the show. I think we're going to show some of it. You'll be surprised at how many images you remember from your childhood that are directly attributed to him. And I just think that's awesome. I mean, to hear you guys refer to him, like on a first name basis, to me it's still weird.
But
Oh yeah.
But
it's like meeting your heroes, right? It's like
Yeah.
Live long enough and focus on what you love, and you'll just always attract the thing that you. It's like David Arkenstone.
Yeah.
Just making music videos in general, and all of a sudden, me and Darrell have like an LLC, like an actual company, and we're actually doing it. Like,
Yeah.
what?
And the lawyer doesn't even know how to set it up. It's crazy.
But you remember back in the day, like you'd go to the store and you'd see the little rack of magazines, and you pick them up, and like you'd feel the weight in your hand
and smell it.
And
always,
the smell, and then you'd like flip through, you'd look for the like pictures, like the centerfold area. They had articles, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll read that later. But
what's gonna fold out?
But what
can I put on my wall?
Right.
Exactly. Like, that was the only thing I ever read, actually. Like, I would read like an article on like Motley Crue, but
it's the tactile feel of it, man. And like, unfortunately, so much of that has gone away because of like the digital age, the internet. Has kind of taken over all of that. But like, there's
I think it's important for our younger viewers to understand. Like literally in the 80s, early 90s, this was your doorway to what you were into.
Right.
If these magazines weren't out, you didn't know what was going on.
this is
you've
like
got
social media.
Like this is a cool one. I want to be careful handling it because it is an original vintage.
Yeah.
But you've got Motley Crue with Ozzy, on that tour that we've heard so much about. In that magazine and stuff like that. And that was absolutely the stuff that was going up on your wall.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
Oh, yeah,
like you knew it. You knew it.
Yeah.
And you would make your decisions on which magazine that you wanted to buy based on like what had the coolest stuff, to put up.
And when my mom was like, we're going grocery shopping, get in the car.
You gotta
and I'm
go.
like,
Oh yeah.
And then like we'd get there, and then I'd be like,
Can I go to?
Can I get a magazine?
Can I go to the magazine?
That's the one thing I can do. I can go.
Even Kroger had.
You know? Yeah,
Right,
even Kroger
yeah.
has like Metal Edge and stuff. It's like Parade, whatever. And I'm just sitting there. She's like, oh, are you okay? Are you good? Are you bored? I'm like, no. There's like 10 more here. I'm just looking at the first one. I'm like, I'm not done. So yeah, that was good times.
But this is kind of missing from modern day, and
Yeah, you get on the internet, you look at some pictures, and it's cool to see some of the old stuff, but that experience of being able to hold it and look at it, it's gone.
Yeah, same with like
or was
CDs and records.
But our buddy Mark, and this is in no way like this is not like one of those late night advertisements. I mean, literally,
hey, I like the English pronunciation.
Like an infomercial.
An infomercial. This is not an infomercial.
Hey, infomercials were kind of cool back in the day.
I mean, we literally just like Mark is doing this. He's putting together a modern magazine, and it's a physical thing. It's awesome because
you literally can hold it.
Bring it back. Yeah, bringing it back.
Like I still read books. Like we're in the age of Kindle, right? But like I don't like look, this is a book of mine. Yeah,
there's something about holding it.
I buy
thumbing through.
I buy physical books.
Yeah.
And there's something so cool about like having
and you literally
a modern
can,
magazine.
If you wanted to, you literally can rip that centerfold off and put it up on your wall.
That's what you do with magazines,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they were for.
Maybe it makes the publisher cringe a little, but that's what you buy them for.
Oh, I think they didn't mind because you had people like me that wanted to have like a nice intact version and then a second copy.
Actually, I did that too. I would buy two, one to read and one to rip up. Yeah.
But his magazine is called Rocked. It's coming out now. Like I think there's a couple of episodes.
I think this one.
I'm a we're TV guys.
Issues.
Yeah.
Right. No, there's a couple of issues out already.
You have issues, Darrell.
I have issues.
You have issues.
I have 2 issues.
Rock has issues.
But he's got a Kickstarter that he's working to put this together, and
here, let me zap over there.
let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I think not because I've had a couple of shots.
You can't hold up your laptop without Mark.
But I think that it's.
What are you talking about?
What?
Oh.
We're having some discussions off camera.
We want to bring up my laptop.
Why can't you bring up?
We got to figure out how
What
to bring
happened?
my laptop up.
Yeah, because you can turn it off. So he's doing a Kickstarter.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kickstarter.
Okay, so Kickstarter going on. So this is basically a way to pre-order and get current issues now, and get the future issues. And there are tons of tiers of perks on the side, whereas you get so say you get issue 2 for $20. Down here, you also get rock postcards, which is over here. Which Mark is cool with that because like he gave us a bunch of these postcards. I have them all hanging up next to my computer.
These are like literally.
This is awesome. I love this one because this is like the original cover of Slippery When Wet.
Yeah, the one that the record company refused. I think it was available in Japan.
Like what are they thinking? This is
the
cover.
That was the best.
If you remember the cover for Slippery When Wet, this one definitely sold more.
That's the cover right there. Yeah. Why would you not do that? What are you thinking?
Now I saw them on that tour.
Whatever.
That was the cover of their tour book.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
because
that
pavement's
that's an
not really
amazing
exciting.
photograph.
But looking through the perks,
It was actually a piece of plastic.
Oh well, maybe you pull the curtain back and we know that now.
Yeah.
But you know what I need?
Another
I'm not going to go with the spice.
Oh my
this time I'm
God.
going to go with the.
Don't get too crazy too early on.
Gold
Anyway,
spice.
hold on. Let's real quick.
Yeah, we're fine.
I want to turn
No,
this into.
I'm not even feeling
an infomercial, but I just want to show you guys because this is
It's
awesome.
a delayed reaction. That's the whole point.
Issue 1, $20. 5 rock postcards. Issue 3 with David Lee Roth on the cover. 25. That's yet to come out. This is 2025. Delivery in November. Issue 4 with Ozzy on the cover, also with the postcards. And then you come down here and you get the bundle with issue number 1 with the shirt. And then you keep going. Also the let's see.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I'm just going to scroll to the bottom. I'm going to get it all.
And then so
that's
you keep
where I'm
going down
going
with the bundles, with the shirt, and then here, this one might be one that you might be interested in, which is a 4-pack for $80. And then you come down, and then of course, the decade that rocked. I think maybe everybody knows about this. Mark Weiss's book.
If you don't have it, it's like an essential for your.
It's a giant book that weighs like a ton, but it's like the perfect coffee table book. It's an epic book.
I think I've rendered myself useless for the rest of the show.
Okay.
And then you come down with the down here to the gallery prints for $200. Ozzy Osbourne, signed by Mark Weiss with the COA as well. Hetfield. In fact, what's kind of cool is we have like some prints right here, gallery prints from Mark. Sent to me, baby.
And look, I'm going to tell you right now,
framed and everything, man. I love them so much.
That as cool as
this one's cool too. We're just pimping out Mark right here. We haven't even gotten him on yet, but
yeah, as cool as the posters were.
And it's
back
entirely
in the day,
out of love because like his.
Yeah, I mean,
shit is awesome. We've been looking at it for 40 years.
I mean, it's just amazing.
And
even to this day, when I see.
And all it takes is like, I don't know what, $20? Just
And this is really to support him. We're no one's getting paid here. There's no affiliate anything.
Yeah.
And as amazing as the posters looked back in the day, I can tell you that these prints are definitely frame worthy.
Oh yeah.
And I personally will have some hanging in my law office.
Yeah. So anyway, if we haven't done that to death, go to Kickstarter, look for Rocked Magazine. Also, you can probably just easily also go to rockedmag.com. It's already here. You can shop here, shirts and everything. We just really love Mark and love this idea. He's bringing it back, and no one else is doing this, so this is really awesome. I love it.
Yep, that's it.
So should we freaking get him on already?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's talk to Mark.
Let's actually get the real deal going on here. Let's get him. All right.
The man, the lens, the legend.
We did it. Look.
Mark!
Mark. Hey.
How you doing, guys?
Doing great.
It's Mo, Larry, and Curly.
It is. That's right. Oh yeah, man.
I can't even see what's going on here.
So, do you have any like gripping questions for Mark right now?
That
specific question, because I know you're talking about.
To,
yeah.
This female here.
Let's get some questions out of the way.
So I knew Mark had shot a lot of stuff that I was familiar with.
Yes.
Like I said, I went to that tour.
Oh, right.
This is the big Motley Crue shoot. I was a huge Crue fan. So my question to Mark that I never asked was, for all these awesome album covers and stuff that you shot, did you, we see in the background the gold and platinum albums and everything. Do you get one of those for all the stuff that you shot?
Yeah, I mean, generally, if you're with them and you're part of the team, a lot of these are not photos, they're illustrations, but I still like the first Motley Crue album, with a pentagram. They gave me that because I was supportive in their early days. I helped them get into magazines. Like my first photo shoot that I did gave them national attention that I shot for Weiss. So, you know, if you helped them out, they would they put your name on the list. And a lot of times, you know, you got to be a squeaky wheel. Like, you know, when, like, I'm on the tour with them a lot, and when I hear them putting in the name requests, and I might just clear my throat a little bit, you know, and, and stuff. So make sure I'm on that list. So, you know, it's always nice to have. And look, 30, 40 years later, just to have there is
Sure.
a nice accomplishment, I feel.
So this is from Too Fast for Love.
That's the first photo shoot I did with him in 1982. Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't do the cover. There was like a whole cover shoot session that they did, but then this was on like what, the insert?
I think
No, that was in We magazine. It was a men's.
That's what I wanted to ask him. I've got that issue.
Okay. Yeah.
They really they showed the world what they were about by imposing with, you know, scantily dressed or undressed women, and
well, it was the early '80s.
Yeah,
you had to do it.
It was the '80s. Yeah, we got away with it back then.
You got away with it. That's a good way to put it.
And then Larry he did not know you shot this.
Yeah, that was news to me before we went on the air. I'm looking through some of these.
He literally saw this postcard and was like, "Wait, he shot that?" I know for a fact because I was in your office and saw the mannequin that you still have of this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But tell the story of how like you went from this to like the original cover or the later cover that everybody knows.
Well, it actually started. The title was Wanted, you know, from Wanted, Dead or Alive, and
Oh, that's right. You had a whole session where you shot them differently.
yeah, I shot them like they all grew beards, and they all came to my studio one at a time in New York, and they grew beards, and they had the Billy the Kid, you know, garb on, and the plan was to create a poster and hang it up in some kind of hideaway, which we ended up shooting in regular rock clothes in a warehouse somewhere in the hills in Vancouver, and we put the posters in the background, and they were kind of like, you know, that was the theme for it. So we did that, and everyone loved it until they kind of got wet feet on it. They didn't like the image, and they decided to call it Slippery When Wet through the strip bars that were there. These girls would go in plexiglass and, you know, go in wet t-shirts.
Oh.
And that's how we got that theme going. And then when we went back to Jersey, I shot the whole band in front of John Bon Jovi's apartment in Bradley Beach. And we just pulled girls from the beach and some of the girlfriends, and we got all the cars together. And that was supposed to be kind of like the back cover. And we ended up using this one girl that ended up being the center, and she ended up being the cover. I did a special shoot in my studio, and that was it. You know,
man, that must have been rough. Man, that must have been really rough to ask her to come in for that shoot.
Shit, and you just pulled her off the beach? She was one of the people off the beach?
Yeah. Tico,
oh, wow.
Yeah, Tico and my friend Danny was looking at, because all the girlfriends and the people that were there, they were, you know, pretty girls, but we were looking for someone that was a little more prettier in certain areas.
That fit the 80s mold.
A little more robust.
What would sell.
So we sent Tico went, the drummer, and my friend Danny Sanchez, who was assisting me. They went to the beach and came back with this girl, Angela, and we put her right in the middle, and then that's when we got the idea to let that be the cover. But then after we printed the copies, this is when the PMRC hearings were happening. I actually went there.
Oh, okay.
You know, talking, you know, for freedom of speech and the amendment, to try to avoid the parental guidance, you know.
Yeah, the parental what is it? I can't remember. I drank too much. Sorry.
Yeah, so we ended up, they ended up scrapping that because after they printed 100,000 or 200,000 copies, and then they were like, all right, so what are we going to do now? And then kind of like at the last minute, John came up to my studio. He said, you got a black plastic bag? I said, yeah. I went to the garbage can and got a black plastic bag. I hung it up. I sprayed some water on it, and then he just wrote "slippery when wet," and he left. You know, he didn't even stay around for the Polaroids. He just said, "Take a picture, send it to the record company." That's it.
That was John's idea.
Wow.
Wait a minute.
We gotta. We gotta wait. Ow! So they used this on the Japanese release, correct?
Japanese where they didn't know about the PMRC and didn't care about it, and
Right. Yeah.
it was also used on the tour book and other areas there too.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's the 40th anniversary coming up next year, so maybe they'll do a re-release.
Wow.
You know, that'd be.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah,
There's
86.
nothing to make you feel like old. Make you feel old, like
Then
realizing
again,
that
like
one of the
40th
musics
anniversary.
that you
Yeah.
grew up on is.
Real quick, what does our super chat have to say?
Cello girl in the house. Thank you so much. She said, I know we're mostly remembering Ozzy tonight, but the passing of Malcolm Jamal Warner and
Of course.
Chuck Majaner. Wait, who is this? And Chuck Majian?
I can't see the screen.
I didn't know about this passing. Affected me as well, particularly the name I can't pronounce, as he was from my hometown, Rochester, New York.
A jazz musician, I believe.
Ah, okay.
Fond memories of
Cello
Rochester.
Girl. There was too much passing this week. I understand, you know, with Hulk Hogan too, and yeah, it's just, and other people that, you know, and other animals, and, you know, there's a lot of life on this planet that, you know, we miss all the time. But yeah, it's been a rough month, really, I would say. But cheers to you, Cello Girl, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. But yeah, so let's get on that. You just came from the UK. What were you doing over there?
Well, I was celebrating, you know, Ozzy's appearance in his final show with Black Sabbath, with Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Anthrax, Slayer, all these bands, which was to be his final performance, which indeed it was, and had a great time. You know, I was there photographing it, the whole thing, and it was a great show. You know, and to find out a couple of weeks later the passing of Ozzy was very sad, and I was really happy to be there to celebrate with all the fans and be part of that. You know, me being, you know, I was only like maybe 15 feet away because I was, you know, in the pit on the riser with all the film cameras, but
you had some credentials.
Yeah. But I felt really close. But then I looked on the screens, and you look at the clips that are live streamed in front of, you know, millions of people, and I think the connection that everyone had, whether it was the 40,000 plus in the arena, the stadium, and the 5 million people that viewed it, like I feel like they had the same closeness that I had, even though I was physically close.
Right. Yeah.
He came across, and the cameras just showing his face and how happy he was, and how he just pulled off, you know, and no one knew what it was going to be like. I didn't know because, you know, he was having some you know, some trouble in the last year or two. You know, you'd see this paparazzi stuff showing up where he didn't look so good, you know, might have been having a bad day, or, you know, he's been having some troubles with his health. So no one really knew how if he was going to pull it off. And, you know, once he came out, he pulled it off, like with flying colors. He was like, you know, flying high for sure. And it was definitely a really special moment for me, especially since Sharon and Ozzy picked a couple of my photographs for they have a museum there that's up there for another month or so at called Working Class Hero. And it had a lot of his gold records and platinums, and they had some audio visuals and you know, trophies and around it. But then they had a few photographs, and two of them were mine. One was from like the first time I shot him in Convention Hall, not Convention Hall, in Passaic in Capitol Theater in 1981, and just to see that there amongst everything else was pretty cool for me. Very good, really cool experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And how awesome must it have been to, be able to be there, like you said, that close, seeing, unfortunately, what would be, ultimately the last performance. But I mean, knowing the history, this isn't, some flash in the pan thing that you did. This is, this is a guy that you knew, that you had history with. I can only imagine that must have been, like a really powerful thing to be able to be there.
Yeah, there's not going to be any. It's like Woodstock, pretty much.
Yeah, right.
It's even more historic. It's because it really, Black Sabbath was the founders of heavy metal, and for Ozzy and the band to perform at Villa Stadium, like just a few miles or a mile from Ozzy's childhood home. I mean, it's pretty much. I mean, you can't make that stuff up. And all his achievements and what he's gone through and the strength he's had over these all the decades. Really, he's someone that will definitely go down in history books and not be forgotten. And his music is like, I've been listening to his music all over on Ozzy's Boneyard, and just the contributions to his music with Randy and Jake and Zach and just amazing body of work, and all the collaborations he's had with people, and just so probably the most well-respected, most respected, musician out there.
Yeah, and I don't know who the quote is attributed to, but I do remember hearing over the last week or so, somebody mentioning that like Ozzy was just Ozzy. He was born to be Ozzy Osbourne. There was nobody before him that you could say, oh, he's acting like him, or he's doing like this.
Very genuine character.
And even though he came way before our time getting into the music, I think it's pretty clear that, we would not have the appreciation for any of the music that we grew up on if he didn't lay the groundwork for it. So.
Well, yeah, look at all the bands that he's helped going out, not including the Ozfest, but like, Metallica, Motley Crue, all the bands that he had as opening acts. And then to segue that into helping dozens of bands every year, with Ozfest, after he got shunned from the Lollapalooza festivals. It's just...
made his own thing.
Yeah, it's just another thing that he can be very proud of.
Now, you met him when? What year was it? 81?
Actually, 1981. Yeah, it's my first shoot with Ozzy for the cover of Circus magazine. He was. It was supposed to be just a cool photo shoot with Ozzy wearing some, cool rock clothes, but we also had a section called the Rock and Roll Yearbook. And we were doing a spread of all these different rock stars, and doing some, like, Ozzy was voted most athletic because he jumped around a lot. So I brought some red boxing gloves with me, and he came out with a pink tutu.
Yeah.
And then I saw some red cowboy boots in the corner, so we put them on, and I took some photos. We just had some fun, we just playing around. And I turned it into the editor of the magazine, and they ended up using that for the cover. I mean, I shot other photos where he looked cool,
the traditional rock-looking thing that you would normally be going for.
But they used that, and I was just starting out. It was like one of my first studio assignments. I was 21, and it didn't go over great in the beginning, but then they got all this attention from it, and then we became friends, and we started doing crazier shoots, when he shaved his head and he put the balloons on his head, and when he ironed Amy for the cover of Faces magazine. Right. So we just started just doing some crazy photo shoots, and he would he would listen to me. And that one photo shoot that we did was pretty cool, because it's like I'm just getting my feet wet, talking to rock stars and telling him to move to the left, move to the right. But Ozzy took direction really, really good, and kind of gave me the confidence to kind of like help me develop my craft, really. And then once I became like his photographer, a lot of the bands that were coming up, like Motley Crue and Metallica and Rat, all these bands, they, I was Ozzy photographer, so of course
you needed to be theirs. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So this photo, is this photo up right now? With me Yeah, so that was that first shoot. And we were just kidding around after the shoot. He took my camera, I took his tour jacket. That's his tour jacket.
That's great.
Awesome.
We became fast friends. And since then, obviously we toured then went to Japan with him and to England and America, went on the tour bus traveling, did countless things with him, including photographing Jack's wedding and shooting an album cover for Kelly and when she was 18 and doing family things. So it's and introducing him to Zakk Wylde, actually. That was something in '87.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That is.
Now in '81 you were how old?
21.
21.
Wow.
Okay, so in 1970 when Black Sabbath debuted, you were 11.
Oh, we just got a freaking wow.
Just happened.
Yeah, I wasn't really like into like when I started getting into music when I was like 14, 15.
Okay.
And then 16, like Aerosmith, Kiss.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath was just it was a little heavy for me back then.
Okay.
I wasn't introduced to it by my brother, he's the one that brought in the Led Zeppelin albums and and the Rolling Stones and Peter Frampton.
Right.
So I didn't get really introduced to. I mean, I knew like Paranoid and Iron Man and all that, but I didn't really dig deep into it. I only started digging deep when the '80s came around, and then when Ozzy wasn't really in the band anymore. And then I started listening to the full records when I got to know Ozzy, and just, you get an album and you listen to every cut, not just Iron Man or whatnot.
Yeah.
But this picture right here that's what he wore during not Live Aid, the US Festival.
Oh, 83.
Yeah. So I was supposed to do a photo shoot with Ozzy, and I had this crate that they delivered to my studio.
Wow.
And Sharon said, "Don't open it. Wait till we get there." And then ended up they didn't come over. They said, "We're just shipped that to California. Ozzy's gonna wear that at the US Festival." And so of course I opened it up, and I actually I put on the outfit. I put in my book, and I had my little thing sticking out of it too, because I was totally naked, and I put it on. And they never even, the first time they seen that was that me wearing it was in my book, The Decade They Rocked. It was just a small photo.
Yeah.
But you had me full on, like with the headpiece on and everything. So I just took that little self-portrait. I have my little clicker there too. So.
Wow.
That was Steve Wozniak's festival, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Okay,
Yeah, the Apple co-founder. Yeah.
That's funny.
That is crazy. So Mark, when you were that young and you said you were, kind of into some of the music and stuff, I guess the fanboy in me just wants to know, like, what was it like? I understand it's a professional gig for you, but when it, came to shooting bands like Motley Crue and Bon Jovi and Cinderella and all of that, was it, like, do you approach that just as a job, or is that like, in your mind, like, part fan of music, realizing what you're doing?
Yeah, I never really looked at it as a job. I still don't. I mean, I know it is, and I know it's a long night sometimes, editing and whatnot and preparing for it. But in the very beginning, when I just went to concerts and just took pictures in the pit, that was like just going to a concert and getting a front row seat. You know.
So you were like, we would have been like, holy crap, they're paying me to do this? I can make a living doing this? That must have been awesome.
And then when I started going backstage and hanging out, it was like, all right, now I get to party with them. All right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then I wanted to take a step further. I wanted to create images for them that no one else would create. So I knew I had chemistry with them and they trusted me. So, I started, doing photo shoots, and then the photo shoots started turning into album cover photo shoots, which for me was the most rewarding because
everybody saw it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, a magazine lasts for 30 days. An album cover,
right.
An album cover is on, like, even now, like all the album covers that I've done, Cinderella and
Twisted
we
talked about that one before, I think once. Night Songs, right? You did Night Songs.
Yeah, you did a review on that one. Yeah. So like those around, like you put on Sirius and you see it even looks better on the screen when you're driving.
Right.
So, it's pretty cool.
Oh my God, let's talk about this one because I have so many questions.
Yeah, that's
so. I mean, he's supposed to be dressed as Mickey Mouse. Like, what?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it's actually, that was kind of a weird one because it was supposed to be the 13th anniversary. It was the 13th anniversary for Circus, so I made this. I had this flag made with a bat because he just bit the head off a bat.
Oh,
Got the baby shots, and I got a cake and I bought some balloons. And he was supposed to come out of it, but not bald with ears on him. But when I got there, I set up, and I was waiting, and then all of a sudden, I actually sat up in the garage at the house in California. And then Sharon came out and she's like, Mark, Ozzy shaved his head last night.
Oh man!
And I'm like, what's going on? And so now what? I flew all the way out there. I talked the magazine into it was my idea to do it. Big expenses and everything. And she goes, no, but we're still gonna do something. I'm like, all right. Well, what are we gonna do? And then Ozzy came out after a while, and the story is he shaved his head because he didn't want to do any more press.
Wow.
That'll show him.
That's funny.
So it's like, I was the first person to, witness like that and try to make something out of it, and we did. So Sharon's like, oh, we'll figure something out, and she started painting on his head. With I don't know what she was doing. Like that original design was not supposed to be with the balloons. I saw the balloons because we had a lot of black balloons just around, just because it was supposed to be.
Those are balloons.
Yeah, it's supposed to be festive. And I took the balloons. I took 2 balloons and I taped them on his head, and that's how we got the cover.
And he said, "Let's run with it."
So this was just like at the moment, a quick evolution of just like, let's do this, let's do that, we got this. Now you're Mickey Mouse.
Wow, that's
wow.
And we had the suit already because we wanted to be the 13th anniversary. It was
So
it
was just supposed to be him with his like long hair.
Right.
Here's the balloons right here. He's holding the balloons.
I see. Yes.
Right. With a lot of balloons, and we're going to throw them up in the background, and that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's insane. Yeah.
That's cool.
See, that's why.
But I guess was that like a lot of the time with him? Was he just like constantly insane? Like, was it always just like this? You never know what you're gonna get.
No, it's not. See, it wasn't him. It wasn't his idea. He just went along with it. He's a kind of guy that will go along with it and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Like the time. I don't know if you have the picture of him in the bunny outfit, but I did a photo shoot
I don't think I
with
did.
Ozzy ironing Amy. Actually, that was for the cover. It was supposed to be The Diary of a Mad Housewife. And the cover was him ironing his daughter Amy. And that shoot going into it, he came into the photo studio with Sharon, and he looked in the corner of the studio, and he's like, and it was a big studio. I shared it with a commercial still life photographer, and he's like, "What's that over there, Mark?" And I'm like, I looked and I saw all this bunny stuff over there, like, the trestle and the outfit just kind of hanging. I never even noticed it. And I looked at it and I was like, that's the cover shoot. That's what we're going to do for the cover. And he's like, what? He goes, I'm the Prince of Darkness. I'm going to put on the Easter Bunny outfit.
The Prince of Darkness.
And I was like, I said, yeah. So he's kind of like moping, like kind of walking over to it. And I remember Sharon saying, she was with her daughter. She was going to go out shopping. She's like, have fun, boys. And I looked at her. I said, is that okay? I put him in the outfit. And she's like, she gave me a wink. Basically like, if I can get him to put it on, then go for it.
Go for it.
Like, hey, if you can make it happen, make it happen.
So we walked to it, and he was like, Mark, really? Are we really going to do it? I'm like, yeah, Ozzy, it's going to be fun, And he puts it on, and I was amazed that he put it on. And then once he got in it,
he saw himself.
He was so happy.
Yeah.
He started hopping around and taking all these pictures. And then we took it off. We didn't spend much time on it, and we took it off. And then we did the photo. Then Amy and Sharon came back, and we did the ironing the Amy photo and other stuff. We were there for several hours. And then when I got the film back, I'm like, what am I going to do with this? It's the Prince of Darkness and the bunny outfit. And so I took the film and I just put it in an envelope and I sealed it and put it in my files. And probably like 15 years later or 20 years later, I found them. I was going through some pictures. And it's like, oh, I forgot about these. And I scanned one of the photos and I sent it to Sharon, and they posted it. And the Ozzy Bunny was out of the closet, and it got millions of views. Nice. And every year they post it. So it's like, now it's all over the place.
But again, going back to what you said, you had built some rapport and some trust, right? So like if anybody else had said, put the bunny outfit on, probably doesn't happen.
Right. Well, I guess. I mean, first of all, I wouldn't have put it out, and I would have showed him the photographs, but I didn't even get that far because that's how I didn't want the Prince of Darkness to be hopping around in a bunny outfit and let the fans see it,
Yeah.
But then again, you didn't want to see Ozzy in a pink tutu, but it kind of worked. And then if you look at a lot of Ozzy's concerts, he starts the show out with all that kind of, he dresses up like Madonna or this person or the Pope, and he kind of makes fun out of the whole thing. So it's like that concept, but a little further. So he's got a, sense of humor. And from the interviews I saw with Geezer and Tony talking about him, like, it seemed like he was like the class clown back in the day. And he liked to make people laugh. And he was definitely, he definitely knew how to do that. And I had a blast with him, really, traveling with him and spending time with the family and, just photographing and being a fly on the wall when I had to be, or be more aggressive. And, he trusted me on how he should look. Cause I like to make my subjects look as best as possible. That's my job, to do that as a photographer.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And, I'm not a technical guy, but I just know how to light and I know how to work the person. And we just had fun, doing shoots.
Oh. So awesome. You followed him on a number of tours, yeah?
Probably every one, yeah.
Wow, every one. What was your favorite tour? Did you have one that kind of sticks out?
Probably the Motley tour,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
what was it? That was
84.
84?
Yeah, I knew
that wasn't No More Tears. No, that was because that was like later, wasn't it?
Yeah, Motley was on their Shout.
Bark
the Moon.
Or what's the one after that?
Ultimate Sin?
No,
it wasn't that. I've had too much to drink.
Anyways.
By the way, I can't believe we just missed this, but X5 Podcast, Charlie Reese.
Charlie
just dropped
Reese in the
500
house.
big ones on a super chat.
Well, $4.99, but you know who's gonna argue over it?
Charlie in the house. I know we're so intense.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you. Cheers, brother. Cheers.
Always happy to hear from Charlie.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Charlie's an awesome guy. That's how I know you guys. So
I know.
That's right.
Yeah, Charlie's a good introducer.
He is.
So you were there on that Motley tour. Tell us like some highlights. Like what kind of stands out about that tour that makes it so memorable for you?
I'm just going to cut to the chase. Is there photos that we'll never see from that tour?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I was on the tour bus and I was passed out. I mean, I'm partying too, just like the rest of them. And I passed out, and all of a sudden, when I got up, I couldn't find my camera, and it was by Ozzy's bunk. And so I didn't think about it. When I developed the film,
oh wow,
he took pictures of a lot of stuff,
a lot of stuff. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that was, you'll never see those for sure. But in Jacksonville, it was one of the most fun we've ever had is when Motley Crue, they had all the women on, coming on the buses, and they had the lingerie, they had their trophies, and they'd have a box of all lingerie from women that was traveling, and they got little trophies from them.
Yeah.
Me and my friend Michael, who's the editor of Faces, went to this little box, and we pulled out all this lingerie and different things, and we brought it to Ozzy, and Ozzy started putting it on, and we had a wig on, and he ended up putting makeup on that day, and this is when they were protesting him.
Sure, yeah.
It was on the news. I just saw a news clip of that whole backstage area, and where we're dressing him, and then he went on stage with it and he ripped it off. But the Motley Crue was there, and a lot of fun. But
I can only imagine what it must have been like if you could be, a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Wow. Or the guy at the place that develops the film or whatever. And it's like, oh my god!
Well, I doubt he was getting them.
No, I don't think he was going to the 1 hour.
1 hour. He probably had a lab that he went to.
But Mark, I'm going to kind of go off script here and just, because I've had a little bit of drink and because I'm curious. So you've got the Rocked magazine that we talked about earlier. What was kind of your thought process on, trying to bring the print media back and sharing some of these photos?
Well, originally I did it with, like, the one that you got there was the first issue that we did over a year ago. And I go every year on the Monsters of Rock cruise, and I used to go on the boat, on the ship, with my book, The Decade That Rocked. But they're 6 pounds, and they're big and heavy.
You're right, yeah.
Bring them on there, and I do a book signing, and you can only bring so many on there. But the magazines are very light, and you can bring more on. You can, sell them, and and do some business. So we decided to, with my girlfriend Mikkel, was the creative director and designer, and we put together this magazine with all the people that were on the ship. And she did it really quick in like 3 days. It was just a pin-up magazine with a centerfold, little story, nothing crazy. It wasn't like, nothing editorial, just a little bit. And it was really, the fans liked it. And we did it again a few months ago when they went out again with the same concept. But then it's like I wanted to take it a little further and turn it into more of a real magazine, where when I say real, I mean more content, more editorial, more of my stories. I pull some interviews from the past and some new interviews. Our tagline is "Where past is present." So the front cover is a photograph that I shot from the past. That's not on that one. It's like, this I can, like, for instance, Well, this is like the third issue that we're.
Oh yeah, David Lee Roth.
So this is the third issue, and that we didn't. It's just started production, but that's why we have the Kickstarter to try to raise money for and production. And on the back cover of this is going to be photographs I shot from M3 a few months ago, currently.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna, and then so the front to the centerfold are old photos or classic photos, and the back to the centerfold is going to be new photos with new editorial both ways.
Oh, that's cool.
Kinda unique, you know.
Oh, man, that's even better.
But with the pinups in mind and the centerfolds, like the second issue, we have centerfold of Sebastian.
Nice.
And there's a lot of Mike Monroe, who was on the cruise. So these are all my photos. So I finally got a magazine with all my photos in it. And this is Lita. First time I shot Lita.
Lita, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And this is the Van Halen spread. I talk about all my memories. These are like even letters that I have with Van Halen. When they hired me for some things and what they wanted me to do.
When did that start, Mark? Your thing with Van Halen?
1978. It was my first.
Wow, the get-go.
Yeah, my first assignment. No, 1979.
Okay.
My first assignment for Circus, actually, and that kind of sparked everything. And the next tour, I did a little bit more, and then they got to know me, and then they started hiring me, and started a relationship. Throughout the decade, even when Sammy took over. I did a bunch of photo shoots and did their tour book and the Monsters of Rock, tour. So anyway, the magazine is that's what it is. Our fourth issue, like going out to England, we made Mikkel designed a cover because I wanted to, have like the different people that were performing, doing some promo. So I figured the inside is really the second issue. So it's like Sebastian's still in there, But really, I just wanted it to explain what I was doing.
Yeah, mock up. Yeah.
So here I have Axl, James Hetfield, and Slayer, and I even put Dimebag and Zach in there.
Nice.
And Joey from Anthrax. So that's like from the past. And on the back cover is going to be photos from the show that I just shot of the same thing, and sandwich it into the centerfold, and we'll have like past the present and some editorial.
So do we just hop on over to the Kickstarter to sign up for how you get it?
Yeah, just go on. You can go on rockmag.com, and you can see little videos, and there's a cool video of David Lee Roth calling me out. Calling me something that I'm not going to say. I don't know if you have it queued up or anything, but
we don't. But yeah, it's pretty awesome.
No, I didn't post it yet, but I'm going to be posting it. Where I haven't seen David in 40 years, and he wanted me to shoot the whole show, and he spotted me after a few songs, and he kind of called me out, and he said something. It was pretty funny. So you can see me in the pit, and you see David walking over to me, and then I have a slideshow of the photos from that show that are going to be in the magazine.
That's awesome.
So that will be
that is great.
That will be in there.
Let me just talk about the power of a photograph real quick. I mean, look at this. Ace Frehley, and it says Ace Frehley 1996. So we know that this is from the reunion tour.
Yeah, when they got back together.
But I look at this photo, and it does so much for me, because it just reminds me of being a kid with Larry when we first discovered Kiss in like 87.
Yeah, 86, 87.
86, 87. And like we knew they were like the older band from the 70s, but like we just thought they were the coolest fucking thing ever. And then,
what do you mean thought?
We were just getting into it. Yes. But we also thought that like the original Kiss, we'll never see them. They broke up 100 years ago in our little like 10, 11-year-old minds.
Yeah.
We'll never ever see them in makeup, blah blah blah. Yeah. And then in 1996, they get together and they're touring, and we went to the
you
show
were there in Birmingham.
In Birmingham, we went to the show together.
Birmingham, Alabama.
In Birmingham, Alabama,
Yep.
and we saw Kiss on their reunion tour with the original lineup in makeup, and it was like a childhood dream come true. So, like, I mean, that's just the power of one single image. You just look at this, and I'm just like, oh, it just brings back 40 years of memories.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
and you know, as a big Kiss fan, I used to always say, you know, I felt like the band kind of owed it to the fans at some point to have the original lineup back. I never thought it would be, you know, makeup and costumes and all of that.
We never thought that was ever going to happen.
But you know, to be able to shoot some of that stuff must have been, you know, again in our minds, you know, the fanboy kids that grew up on the stuff, just how awesome that must have been.
Well, for me, that Kiss, that shoot that you just held up in the centerfold in '96, like that was a childhood dream of mine to do a photo shoot with Kiss with makeup, because I shot him in '77 and
you did it from the pit, from as a concert goer.
Yeah, I was sneaking in at the concert and selling them for $1 a piece, and then I shot him in February in '77, and then in January, February, December, I shot him, or I went to sell the pictures that I shot from that time, and sold them for $1 a piece. I was selling pictures outside the concerts out of my high school locker.
Wow.
And I did that just for fun and to make money to get film, and I would sneak my cameras in.
Yeah.
So I did that for a couple of years until I got arrested at the Kiss concert.
Oh no!
I went in a paddy wagon with the shirt sellers, and then I went home the next day, and I saw my circus magazine. You know, my circus. You know, I'm looking at it and I'm checking out in the masthead where it was, and it was let's see, where was it? 115 East 57th Street. So I went to 115 East 57th Street with my portfolio, and you know, the secretary took a liking to me, and she got me an appointment with the art director. And then Jerry Rothberg came in, who was the owner, founder, publisher, and he just said, I like what you're doing, but you should use Kodachrome film, and you know, gave me a little pep talk. And I said, okay, I'll let you know, I'll come by when I have something. And 6 months go by. Aerosmith was playing Giant Stadium with Ted Nugent, Mahogany Rush, and I think Journey too. And I stuck my camera in. It was a Giant Stadium in New Jersey, and it was during the day, so I didn't need a flash. With Kodachrome, you need a flash, so I didn't have a flash yet, but I didn't need it because it was daylight. And I took some cool photos of Steven, and I dropped them off in the office, and it ended up being the centerfold of the October '78 issue. The Beatles were on the cover, and that was my first one. I'm looking at it right now. It's like right in front of on my wall right there, all framed up and everything. So, and
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, then the management saw the pictures. Then every issue they started putting Ted Nugent, Journey in there, and all my photos started appearing like in every issue. So then the management, Lieber Krebs, contacted me, and then I started working with them, and you know, it just started snowballing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so for anybody that was born, you know, that's following us on the live or joining in, or that maybe is a little bit younger, they may not understand. I have a 20-year-old, and I've had to go back and explain to him. You talked about sneaking in the camera. There was a time, and even when Darrell and I were going to a lot of concerts, you know, bringing in your own camera, getting pictures was a huge no-no. You know, get your camera taken, you would get, you know, obviously you said you got arrested, so you had to go with the shirt bootleggers. But yeah, there was actually a time, and I know that's hard for, you know, younger folks that are used to being able to record an entire show on their camera.
It's so ubiquitous nowadays that like everyone's given up. They're just like, yeah, you're gonna take photos and videos.
Right.
But yeah, there was a time when it was just,
you that was like I remember sneaking a camera in on Kiss's Hunt in the Shade tour.
Yep.
And I had it stuffed down in front of my pants, and I got past the person that pats you down, and unfortunately, none of my photos turned out quite as good as Mark's, but they were a little fuzzy. But it was it was a real thing, to be able to get in there and get some photos. And every time I took one, I remember thinking, Gene just saw me. Somebody's coming to get this.
Oh. He's gonna bite your head off.
Yeah. That's right.
Nice.
But yeah, that was that. What an incredible road, to take, and then to come full circle back. Here it is, 2025.
Yeah.
Be able to make a publication. That is just if you would have told 14-year-old me that I'd be on a live show right now with Mark talking about this, I'd say there's no way. That's just the way it is.
Well, if I would have told me, my 14-year-old self, that I'd be like planes with Kiss and everyone else and traveling around the world, I mean, I'm still pinching myself, really.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'd probably still be mowing lawns. I mean, I got my first camera as a kind of a fluke. I used to mow lawns for $5 a cut. And this one guy, it was a new neighborhood, and this one guy used to mow his lawn, but he let his lawn go. So I knocked on his door. I said, maybe his lawnmower's broken or something. And I said, do you need your lawn cut? And he's like, no, I do it myself. And I said, well, it doesn't look that way. and he kind of, laughed, and he's like, a little sarcastic. I was only 12 years old. And he said, I tell you what, kid, and he comes back with this camera, which is hanging on my mannequin over there, this little Bell & Howell camera.
Cool.
And he said, I'll give you this camera if you mow my lawn for the season. And I'm thinking, I'm going to pawn it, for $100 down the road.
Yeah.
And after I mow the lawn. So what happened was 2 weeks after I got the camera, I got in a really bad motorcycle accident. I had a a little mini bike, a Suzuki 50, and I had a head-on collision with my friend Glenn, and it really put me under. I was unconscious. My brother found me. I was like, they thought I was fucking dead. So I spent that summer recovering. I was in the hospital for a month, and then I had a concussion. Spent the summer in my room, and the camera was on my shelf, and I couldn't even move. So it's like I kept looking at this camera, and originally I was going to pawn it that week, So eventually I asked my brother to hand me the camera, and I started playing around with it and, opening it up, checking all the little knobs, and I started getting a little infatuated with it. And then I decided to, learn a little bit more. And someone in my school, the teacher in my school at Carl Sandburg in Old Bridge, had a summer photography class, and I said, can you teach me how to develop film or take pictures? And he said, yeah, and that's how I learned.
So some lazy bastard that didn't want to cut his lawn gave us a whole lifetime of images.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how it starts.
That is amazing.
Right. I'd love to play a clip too, by the way, from the Osbournes from season 1, I believe. It's a little photo shoot with you and Ozzy,
this is cool.
And Sharon and them are watching it and talking about you in the shoot. And anyway, it's a short little clip, but it's a fun one. So let's roll the clip.
Girl, I'm sorry.
Normal photo shoot.
What the fuck? Everyone get down there more?
Definitely will get canceled today for this photo shoot.
That's what you're doing man.
Why? Why? They have to work too.
Yeah. Everyone's overly sensitive about this stuff.
That's what I want. That's it. The hands, Ozzy. The hands. That's a sign fucking photo. It's a good one though.
Yeah, Rob. Oh, that's sad, Mom. Look who it is. Look. Ozzy Mark Weiss.
With the same shirt that you trimmed. Ozzy, can you tell us about that photographer?
He followed it from for a long time.
He was 18 when he first started to take pictures.
Wow.
And it was Ozzy's first solo show in New York that he came to. And he came up to us and he was like so young and innocent. He said, please, can I take pictures at the show? And I'm like, sure. And then he's been around ever since. And to see him, his career progress and grow, and then he was like, there were two big rock and roll photographers at that time. One was English, Ross Halfin, and the other one was Mark Weiss, American, and they're both still doing it, and they're both still at the height, you know, and it's just great to see them mature and how their lives
awesome.
Yes.
This little curtains coming. Wow, that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's nice to see that. Someone sent it to me like actually a week before I went over to Birmingham. They sent it to me. I guess there's a show where they look at old clips and they talk about it. I think it might be pretty recent.
Yeah.
And like on my 65th birthday, you know, I invited them, of course, but you know they couldn't make it. I had a big birthday party in my backyard, and they couldn't make it, but they sent me this really nice video message, and they hooked it up, and it was the family, just like all talking, you know, happy birthday, I'm glad you're doing better, and because I was having some health issues, and you know, it just blew me away. It's, you know, it means
And
a
we
lot.
were there.
We had the
That was-
benefit of being there.
That was an awesome
we were
birthday
there.
party.
Yeah.
Loved it. Hell yeah, man. That's cool.
Wow.
Well, good stuff. You know, I guess we're getting to the intermission here, about the halfway mark.
That's right. It is that
the
time.
halfway mark. Weiss.
It is.
And well, this has been awesome. And I guess we're gonna stick around for part 2.
We got lots more to come.
We definitely have a lot to.
So don't go anywhere.
And hopefully our special our surprises.
I'm gonna have some water.
Manifest.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's gonna
Well,
be.
we're hoping for the special guest because they're doing a show, and they're gonna try to, you know, buzz on here. So, you know, we don't know. So we don't want to disappoint anyone. So we're not gonna say any names.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And
It's a
that-
fluid situation.
But regardless, we still have plenty to talk about. So everybody go run to the bathroom, refresh your drinks, and we'll see you in about 10-15 minutes.
And drop the link again one more time for the
Yes.
Kickstarter.
Absolutely.
And take a minute to look through some of the videos that are embedded in there. They're epic.
Yep.
So we'll see you after the break. We love you.
Mr. Bobby McFerrin. For Ocean Spray. So tangy. So crisp. Taste refreshing Ocean Spray Cran Raspberry. It's music to your mouth.
It was a simpler time. A time of hope and faith in the future. Blue jeans and white t-shirts were in. And Mazda introduced the Miata. A ragtop, a two-seater, a true roadster. Everyone seemed to be feeling pretty good. The new Mazda Miata. It not only gives you a glimpse of 1990, it takes you back as well.
It's easy to see why people are switching to scrub-free bathroom cleaner. It cleans on contact.
We put the lime juice in the Skittle, we are pleased to reveal. We put the orange juice in Skittles to give them more appeal. I say Skittles, I would like to introduce, I say Skittles. Now there's real fruit juice. We put the grape juice in the Skittle and the strawberry too. And the juice of the lemon, so you have yourself a few. Real fruit juice in Skittles, bite-sized candy Skittles. Taste the rainbow of fruit flavors, woo.
peanutty cream comes together with a crunchy candy shell, what you got is Reese's Pieces, one great tasting candy. In a crazy world where things don't always fit, it's great to know there are some that do. Reese's Pieces, the winning combination.
Budweiser and Bud Light join with USA Today to give baseball fans something new. Now, for the first time, you can also pick up an official All-Star fan ballot free wherever you pick up Bud or Bud Light. Vote for your favorite Major League players. Then, test your baseball trivia and win valuable prizes.
Answers are in USA Today every day.
So fans, settle back with a cold Bud or Bud Light. Vote for your favorite All-Stars and be part of a baseball tradition.
Take the challenge and play along with Jeopardy! Tonight at 7.
Tomorrow, the latest on the crash of United 232. Also, Olympic gold medalist Carl Lewis and Sylvester Stallone on Good Morning America tomorrow.
You're watching Eric and Darrell Live.
Raisin Nut Bran tastes better. Tastes better than Kellogg's, better than Post. It's got juicy nut-covered raisins and big, crisp flakes.
People have a better time around Raisin Nut Bran.
The best tasting Raisin Bran.
Your first fishing trip, and this fever hit. Poor kid. Didn't even get to catch a fish. You'll be all right. The children's Tylenol is already working.
Children's Tylenol to bring fever down fast.
I wouldn't trust anything else for you.
You wouldn't?
It's the one your doctor gives his own little boy. When you feel better, we'll get you a big one.
Children's Tylenol, the one most pediatricians give their own children. Why trust anything else?
Let's go, Dad!
It's here.
Traffic 2 over.
A sleek new example of design leadership. A sophisticated sports sedan with true feel-of-the-road handling. Its name, Ford Tempo GLS. The new Ford Tempo GLS. A more sophisticated way to express your driving ambition.
Now get a $500 cash bonus from Ford on manual transmission Tempos.
There's nothing like the sights and sounds of summer. Look for the Michelob Light and Michelob Dry Beach display at a store near you.
Presenting Kodacolor Gold 100.
I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors.
Kodacolor Gold 100 gives you the truest color, the most accurate color of any print film.
True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow.
Sunday on Our House. Another one. In the aftermath of disaster, the family struggles to be reunited.
Get back here!
Then, it's hot off the press. Last Sunday, you made Family Ties America's #1 show. Ooh. The surprises just get better in an all-new Family Ties.
Sunday.
My fellow Americans, you're watching Eric and Darrell.
Why risk your neck on dangerous outdoor sports? Enjoy the newest indoor sport, MTV Music Television. Ever feel as if there's no way out? Win the MTV Escape Hatch and get away. If it's cold where you live, go tropical. If you live where it's hot, go where it's not. Hot or cold, MTV and American Express vacation stores will fly you to the climate of your choice. 7 days and 6 nights, all expenses paid, are yours and a friend's to enjoy. Plus, we'll even toss in $1,000 spending money for extra fun. The MTV Escape Kit is yours to travel with. You'll get your own portable VCR, TV, and video cassettes. Take along video music wherever you go. Your getaway is over. Or is it? A brand new 1983 Renault Fuego Turbo will be waiting in your driveway. The MTV Escape Mobile. Yours for keeps. To enter and go, just send a postcard to MTV's Escape Hatch, P.O. Box 1211, Radio City Station, New York, New York, 10101. 100 runners-up win a Toshiba stereo cassette player. The MTV Escape Hatch, the trip, the video recording system, the car. It could all be yours from MTV.
Jay Trotter always knew the odds were against him. I'm broke. That's what made a day like today
You might be walking around lucky.
so beautiful.
You got the long shot.
God likes me!
May I buy you a drink? I don't see why not. I'm on the pill.
He really likes me. Richard Dreyfuss, Let It Ride. You're a wonderful guy. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, August 18th at theaters everywhere.
Then what'd she do?
She kissed me.
No.
Uh-huh.
2 cold ones. I knew a girl like that once.
Did?
We're playing this game called Spin the Bottle. And when it stopped, it was pointing right at me.
Then what?
She kissed me.
So what'd you do?
I married her.
Can't be Coca-Cola Classic. Does Grandma know?
She's a little suspicious. How old was that girl?
Very old. 8.
You've spent a lot of money on your stereo, yet you feel that something's not quite right. There are problems. Your neighbors, for instance, don't exactly enjoy your musical selections. Or maybe your speaker sound is leaving you a little rattled. There could be a number of things blocking your stereo enjoyment. Get your sound off the ground with Sound Suspenders. Sound Suspenders will improve your audio quality. By elevating your speakers, you can eliminate those annoying problems. Cut out that excessive bass reverberation and annoying thump, thump, thump. And Sound Suspenders can keep your speakers away from curious little hands. Sound Suspenders are safe and easy to install. With this patented method, they can be hung as easily as a household plant. Sound Suspenders, a maximum return for a minimum investment.
Sound Suspenders are available through this special offer for only $29.95. To order, call now, 800-538-8157, extension 949. In California, call 800-672-3470, extension 949. Visa and MasterCard accepted.
There is nothing wrong with your MTV. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. We will control the video. We will control the audio. We can make it buzz, hiss. We can make the music soft. Or make your television explode. For the next hour, sit quietly or get up and dance. You are about to participate in a cable adventure which reaches from the outer limits to your inner sanctum. You are experiencing the sight and sound of MTV. Music television.
You are entering a battlefield of the future. The Star Wars Jedi Arena.
Becoming a Jedi Master takes practice. Using your lightsaber, try to penetrate your opponent's defenses. But watch out, the whirling seeker can attack on its own. So follow your instincts. Now you're ready to take on any challenger who dares to oppose you.
Play the Jedi Arena home video game, alone or head-to-head. The challenge awaits you. From Parker Brothers, the ones to beat.
Saturday, see the Fax Girls become Golden Girls.
Have the body of a 40-year-old woman. Well, give it back, because you're getting it all wrinkled.
On 227, what does Sandra do with a hot date?
Where I kicked him, he not only saw cum, he saw food, too.
Then on the Golden Girls.
I haven't had sex in 15 years, and it's starting to get on my nerves.
It's twice the laughs in a special one-hour episode.
Saturday.
Now, incredible deals await you at exciting destinations across the country. It's our Burger King Summertime Twofer, a complete package which includes 2 flame broiled burgers, 2 regular fries for just $2. You'll also receive deluxe accommodations during your stay, unlimited use of our facilities, and great family entertainment. So visit any of our luxurious locations and get 2 burgers, 2 regular fries, and all this for just $2. The Burger King Twofer, available for a limited time, transportation not included.
Smooth, mellow, Michelob.
Check into the Hotel Alp. You rang? When the Tanners relive their honeymoon.
Welcome to Niagara Falls.
Hit it, Brian! Monday. Then on Valerie's Family.
When's the last time you saw something really scary on TV?
The family relives their worst nightmares. Monday.
Are you sure you want that soft drink?
Why?
A 7-Up might be nice.
Why?
I like it.
Why?
7-Up is light and refreshing, crisp and clean, and no caffeine. Never had it, never will. All of these other soft drinks have caffeine.
Why?
Why? Why? Good question.
Don't you feel good about 7-Up?
MTV comes to you in stereo, in high-fidelity sound, in rich, deep, dulcet tones, with highs higher than your TV can imagine, and lows lower than it's ever known. We'd like to give everyone MTV in stereo right now, but we can't. It's something you have to do for yourself. Call your local cable company for a special hookup to get MTV Music Television in stereo. You'll be so glad you did.
His new date.
Don't date a priest, it's bad luck.
And an amen hold on when the deacon cooks up a storm.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Come home Saturday.
It's Eric and Darrell back from the break. Get ready for fun, 'cause we're not done. Yeah! Hell yeah! Eric and Darrell! I'm back!
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
I think Mark's watching some video.
I need to let everybody know that usually I'm more engaging with the viewers, but there's usually like a big screen over here with the messages, so I can't see it. Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah.
So I'm not ignoring anybody, but I also have very little knowledge about where I am.
JBJ Blaze just said the boys are back in town.
One day when we have the meager funds, we can add a second monitor that is just the chat.
That's right.
But because we have our special guest of Mark Weiss,
I would rather have that.
we have a monitor so that we can see him and engage with our friend.
And I have to be honest, if Mark wasn't on, I wouldn't be able to read that stuff tonight.
Okay.
Just being honest. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Maybe you want to borrow my glasses?
Oh, you know, well, maybe these because...
Oh, yeah, you can borrow those.
Oh,
there you go.
much better.
Oh, so much better.
Oh.
No, stop.
Right comment.
Oh, stop it.
Let's start off with a fun little...
Oh, this is fun. Okay.
Game here.
Okay, Mark.
Let's switch over to my PC here, and let's look at some covers that Mark has created.
I wonder what this one is.
Album covers.
You maybe should have
This might be the X-ray version of it, but
you should have gotten rid of the the distinguishable parts of it.
Only Anthrax album
Well, yes.
I ever owned as a child or as a younger person.
So the point of this, Mark, is that Eric has gone through a couple of different albums and he's put them under an X-ray.
Really crappily, by the way. Not
Yeah.
But we wanted to ask you about these covers. Where was this taken? Is this indoors, outdoors? What?
That was in my studio in New York City. They, Charlie had the concept to just, draw on the white seamless, or actually it was blue seamless, and they had all this Nike stuff and gear, and they were doing a play off the rap, obviously, for "I'm the Man," and that's how we got the cover. We spent a few hours painting it and a few hours shooting. We had fun. It was a really cool shoot.
That's cool. Oh yeah. Remember the "I'm the Man" music video that you guys did?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good
Were you
one.
not there for that?
No.
Oh.
No, I think someone else shot it, but yeah.
What's the story of that X-ray again? Let me see that. What's the story? Is that really? Let me see. Go back to the other one.
No, it's not very accurate. Like if I
that
go
one's,
back and forth,
that one's
it's
not
just-
accurate
It
at
just
all.
kind of is inspired
AI
almost,
stuff.
Right.
But we'll go to the next one here. Let's look at this one. I wonder what this could be.
When you see it through the X-ray lens, it really loses its
it's pretty bad.
charm.
It's pretty bad,
Yeah,
Is there a way to do the transparency where you can stop it?
Now that's what you want. You want
Yeah, we don't want the skeleton so much.
you want less of a degree of X-ray. You want the classic X-ray goggles.
Yeah,
the
it's not even-
the Superman goggles.
Right.
Exactly,
That's a
yeah,
bit too far.
Yeah, it's not even lined up.
Yeah.
correctly.
You want to
But-
stop just past the shirt.
But here's my question on this: did you ever take a picture of her face?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Because in all the pictures, it's always cropped there.
That's not what I was thinking. I was wondering if there's any photos. Anyways, what?
I'm sure there are. The question I have is like, where is she now? Does anybody know?
Yeah, did she follow up?
Yeah, I did a Monmouth Museum when my book was released. I had her as a special appearance, and
Oh,
That's awesome.
I love that.
I got the shirt. We cut it up, and she wore it. We did some photo ops, and we had some fun.
That's
cool.
great.
Nice.
That is awesome.
Well, yeah. Oh, this one. I know you remember this. Look at the hair on it.
Yeah, he's explained before. This is night songs, but it wasn't shot at night. Is that right?
Right. I shoot day for night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Tom didn't quite know what I meant by that, but he trusted me, as he says in an interview. Basically, the story behind it is we were in daylight because I wanted some control over it. I didn't want to be fumbling around, and I like to have a little more control in daylight, but I wanted to have the appearance of night. So you have the strobe lights. The strobe lights overpower the available light, and it's just a quick flash. And then I grab some smoke and some lights in the back, and hose down the floor, and it kind of gives the appearance for night songs.
nice.
Yeah, now flip back to the X-ray. Yeah, it really captures how Corey his hip is like totally out of line there, because he's like popping it. Yeah,
popping a hip.
He's a hip popper. Oh, and this one here. Where was this one shot?
That was in L.A. Again, that was like a key that I had made out of like 6 feet tall out of plexiglass.
Oh,
and I threw some smoke behind it. And the original cover, it's a collectible, has the band of the back of them through the cover, but it was cut out. It was a really cheesy looking. It's like you see little tiny, the same guys, but in the back looking through it. And they kind of nixed that after a while because it looked kind of cheesy.
Oh, so the first pressings kind of had that look to it.
Yeah, and then they took it off. I know the band would have wished they would have took everything off except for with the smoke. But it was a sign of the times. They got a designer to. It's the first time they saw the clothes that came delivered. So it's like, all right, we spent all this money on the studio and the props and everything else, and we have to produce an album cover. So they just kind of put on the suits and went along with it. You know, they couldn't even move in those things. It was really
Wow. Yeah, and Mark, that was one of the questions I guess that I would have had back then. I'm assuming, you're dealing with these folks on a regular basis and everything in your professional capacity. I'm assuming they show up for the photo shoot probably dressed normal and then get in costume for the photo shoot, and that 13-year-old Larry thought that these rock stars walked around like that.
Yeah.
Like Nikki Sixx would have wore the black and white pinstripe,
Exactly.
spandex suit.
No, I think
Going grocery shopping.
Yeah.
Well, actually, 85 is when this was taken. So this was actually the beginning of really the glammiest part. And the bands really did, like Poison did walk around and flyering, the clubs and, walking around in like what they would wear,
With the hair and the makeup and everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, they wouldn't wear these suits, but, the spandex and the leather and all that, that was pretty big. Everyone used to hang out on the streets where the rainbow is and whatnot.
I too donned the spandex back in the day.
He did. We have video proof of it.
So.
Yes. All right. Here we go. Odyssey.
Next one up.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, the X-ray looks a lot spookier.
His hand moves a lot, but okay.
Yeah, that was when Joe Lynn Turner was in the band. That was probably one of their most successful records. But that was kind of cool. I enjoyed shooting that.
Nice. Talk about the kind of process that was done on this. Was that you, or was that like they took your photo and kind of made it?
Well, during that time period, I was just kind of experimenting with different color processing and.
Okay.
So I did it once, and I was like, all right, that's enough.
It's like in Photoshop, that would be like a posterization.
Yeah. That's cool. Oh yeah. So our producer Caleb was very excited.
This just came up today.
He was like, oh my
had
God.
no idea that you did Suicidal Tendencies.
Yeah. So like, where was this? This is pretty epic.
I was in California, and they took me to location. We went location scouting, and when they showed me this, I was like, "That's perfect." So let's do the shoot there. Yeah, it was pretty easy shoot. It was daylight, and no setup on lights. Just had to compose them, get them at the right time of day. We got lucky on the weather, nice blue sky, and it was It was one of the easier photo shoots I've done.
Nice.
Now, when you got hired on or even presently, like, does the band come to you or their management, I assume, with like an idea, or do they just pretty much turn it over to you and say, "What do you think?"
They usually have an idea.
Okay, so they have like a basic concept and.
Well, yeah, like the Stay Hungry, it didn't end up. The idea for Stay Hungry was Dee and the band on one side of the room. I had this room built because they told me what the room was going to look like. So I had this built in my studio, and I got little mice in there because it was supposed to look like an old, like, abandoned room with light coming out of. They said they wanted the windows with light coming out with boards over it. So I kind of did that. And then I went down and got a bone from the deli, and that was not really planned until like that day.
So that's a real bone?
Yeah, I went and got it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, the idea was to, like, the band being around this bone, and they were hungry, And so on one side of the room was going to be them without makeup, and on the other side of the room it was going to be with makeup. But But D really didn't perform because he was known to overdo it in the photo shoots and take over. And I believe he was kind of like holding back because he wanted to be, it was a band. Twisted Sister was a band, and he was kind of getting a lot of limelight because he's the singer. Singers do get the limelight, but he was trying to keep the band a band, and so during the whole photo shoot, he really wasn't. It's the first time I shot him, so I didn't. I know live on stage he was pretty much like kind of a very animalistic kind of guy on stage,
Yeah.
and I kind of wanted that. And anytime I try to get that out of them, it's like they almost couldn't hear me. Like they weren't really, I positioned them. And I'm like, I try to get more out of them. But then once I was done after like 18 hours, shooting in without makeup, with makeup, I said, anyone want to stick around for some more individuals? And everyone was just ready to get out of there. It was like 2 a.m. So everyone left except D, and D stayed. He goes, yeah, let's do a roll. So we started, getting aggressive. I said, get a little more aggressive. And so he started, banging the walls, and I took the bone, and I threw the bone at him. He grabbed the bone. It was like a rotten, stinking bone. And he started banging the walls and just really turning into that person. And that was like the last frame on that 36.
Wow.
The 36 frames on that roll of film. Wow. And that was the magic shot. We had other shots that were close to it, but that was really the one. And when we turned them in, I had nothing to do with it. It ended up causing a little bit of a stir between the band members. I heard it almost broke up the band.
Because they're thinking he's trying to put himself front and center.
Right. And he actually, when I told him this, how I felt about the shoot, like maybe when the book came out, we did some interviews together. My book, The Decade That Rocked. He actually said, "Yeah, you're right. I wasn't being me until everyone left. I wasn't. I was trying to be a team player. I was trying
kind of holding back a little bit on his own personality.
He was holding back a lot because he wanted the band to, because he told the band that he wouldn't do that. Maybe he didn't physically tell them, but it was understood that, like, look,
we're in it together, yeah.
And but so once they all left, game off, or game on.
Yeah.
So Eric and Darrell might get mad at me now because, again, going off script, just something I'm curious about. So Twisted Sister was one of the few bands that I remember from back then that kind of openly, had the on-stage persona. But, I know in their music video for Leader of the Pack, they're also like in street clothes, whereas most of the bands were, pretty much image conscious. So was there ever a push? I know like back with Kiss in the 70s, the whole thing was, is anybody going to get a picture of them without makeup and so forth? Did the magazines and stuff ever push for like candid photos of the bands and stuff? I know some of that stuff has surfaced, but growing up, honestly, I don't remember, seeing our heroes in street clothes.
Right.
You mean not just Kiss? Anybody really?
Anybody, yeah.
No, I always shot the bands, actually, I did shoot them like on the tour buses. I usually shoot black and whites because the magazines wanted color, and you get more money for the color photos, and usually they're not dressed up. So I wanted to document them. So I have tons of photos that I haven't even looked at. They're in my files.
Right.
That one day I'll do a book on, I'll call it black and white or something, and
cool.
those are just kind of fly on the wall photos, me on the tour buses with Motley or Rad or Ozzy, and just shots backstage before the shows, or things like that.
See, like 50-year-old me looks back and thinks that 14-year-old me would have lost his mind if he could have seen some of that stuff. You didn't have like the magazines reaching out to you asking for that stuff?
There was stuff in there, but it was always anything that was in the magazines. They were pretty much, we were pretty much image set. Like, I would be with them driving overnight. So we would go to a truck stop and go into a McDonald's, and I would take pictures, because it was fun. We were just having fun. We'd goof around.
So you had that level of, obviously, that level of trust with the band where they didn't, they didn't think you were going to, leak out a bunch of stuff they didn't want the public to see.
Right. Well, we had an understanding that they would approve photos. I want them to see the photos. So sometimes some of those photos would make it into the magazines, but
right.
It's up to them to decide, and then
Sure.
I'll put it out there.
Yeah, I just remember as a youth watching, like the Motley Crue Uncensored and the Kiss Exposed, like home videos, and it was
quote
just,
unquote.
Again, young me thought that was all real.
Yeah.
That it wasn't just a 30-minute or a 45-minute
Totally.
commercial.
Totally
but
not staged.
to see the bands that we were idolizing in blue jeans was just like, holy cow, they're like real people.
Yeah. So whatever happened to this bone here?
Yeah, I actually, his son Jesse, who I've known since he was a baby, ended up being in a band, and let's see, probably about, it could be 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but he had a band. He was, trying to put a band together, and he was doing a video, and I thought that this would be a good time. I took the bone. It was been in the basement for decades, and I took the bone, I took it in the bag. I kind of rinsed it off a little bit, and I gave it to D, and I had a knapsack. I said, he goes, "What's that?" I said, "Give this to your son," because it was his first music video.
Yeah.
So he basically, the idea was to pass him the bone,
Oh, cool.
Oh,
nice.
He gave it to his son, Jesse. Jesse might have gave it back to D, or D might have took it back, but
Hey.
So D held on to this bone for all these years.
Well, I held on to it for a good 25 years.
Oh, you held on. Okay.
And then I gave it to his son, probably could be 10 years ago or 15.
I hope you cleaned it, or at least
Well, he seemed to
froze
rinse it off.
Yeah.
Well, it's after a while, it's kind of deteriorates.
Like a tree, like tree bark. Yeah. Okay, so this one here.
Yes.
One here, but a very iconic, epic album cover. So
Yeah.
Tell us about that one.
Oh, we have.
This is me and.
Yeah, there we go.
That's me and Blackie on that roof on that.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is.
So this looks like a set. Was this a set?
Yeah, that was a set. It was in SAR Studios, I think, and I brought in like a ton of dirt, and then we had all these prop bones that I put around it, and then I brought in this big canvas and some gels and some lights, and just had the flag made, and that was a very difficult shoot because it was just just with all the dirt and everything. So
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it took a while to get all that dirt out of there too. The studio was a little pissed off.
But hey,
the price of art.
Yeah, really.
That's right. That's cool, man. Sweet. Well,
That is nice. Yeah, I that was one that I didn't realize he had shot when we were getting ready for the show. I saw that. I was like, holy cow, I've had that since
We
the
we
80s.
should run this through AI and make him move a little bit.
that's right. Make them dance. Make 'em
Yeah,
do
that flag waving and
Right.
stuff.
I saw Wasp last year.
That's right, for the first time.
For the very first time. I never saw him back in the day, but I saw him.
I wish I could have gone to that show with you.
Yeah.
Where was that? Tennessee?
It was in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the Ryman. Yeah, they did their first album from beginning to end. So,
That's right.
Nice.
Well, I say they, Blackie
And the rest of the hired
and
guns.
the rest of the band. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blackie and Friends.
Blackie and Friends, the new sitcom.
Cool. All right.
It's a bomb.
Well, good. Well, that concludes our X-ray in-depth analysis on your album covers.
Yeah.
Did we? We must have missed some album covers, right?
You didn't put my Air Supply album cover up there.
Oh, I
Air
love
Supply.
Air
Okay,
Supply.
okay.
Which one? He did an Air Supply cover?
It's the one. It was in the early '80s. It was the two of them on the front, and on the back were their legs.
I've seen Air Supply twice. I know people think that that's crazy. I love Air Supply. I lose my metal card by admitting that.
Yeah, I was working for Jet Records. You know, they were managing Black Sabbath. It was Sharon's dad, Don Arden, and he was also managing Air Supply. So they hired me for that.
Wow. That's cool. See, now that's even more awesome.
And I redid like 4 years ago. It actually just popped up on my timeline. 4 years ago, they came to my studio in Red Bank, my friend's studio, and they played down the street. And we reenacted the photo shoot with the.
I was going to ask that. Has like anybody ever, have you gone back and like done the recreation now?
Yeah,
of
we did that.
Like the older stuff, and so they did.
Yeah,
that's cool. Wow,
that is cool.
And I did that recreation. There's a show every year in Boston or in Spencer, near Spencer, called Hairfest. And it's a tribute band, and they have about 2,000, 3,000 people there. And my friend Frank from Shot of Poison is the tribute band for Poison. He brings me up there, and I do a book signing. But 2 years ago, I did a reenactment of my Guns N' Roses photo or my Metallica photo in the bathrobes, because they had a Metallica tribute band, and they had the bathrobes, and so we reenacted. It's like, we did an Ozzy photo, and we did a Judas Priest, the one where he's kind of in the forward of my book, and he's kind of got the metal spike. So we kind of recreated it to the T, like 5 of them. It's on my TikTok.
Oh wow,
it's pretty cool.
Nice.
So yeah.
Sweet.
So without naming any names, I'm assuming that there were some bands that were more difficult to work with than others that didn't take direction.
No, just one.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
We will not ask who that is. So
I want to know who that was.
Well, that's probably an off-the-air conversation.
No, why not? You can ask. If you ask, I'll tell you.
We would love to know.
What's the question?
Who's
the most difficult band you've worked with?
Well, let's see. Difficult? I don't know.
The band still has to work. Come on, don't put them on the spot like
I don't
that.
know if that's the word, but uncooperative. I'll use that as the uncooperative.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get hired for to do a record shoot, especially a cover, a promotion or whatever it is, by the record company. I'm trying to make the band look as best as they can.
Yeah, we understand this.
This one band came in. It was their debut. The singer was in another band that was in a band called the Misfits, and the singer branched off and started a band called Danzig.
Never heard of him.
I've never heard anything negative about that person.
And so they came to the studio, and I started, trying to make them look good. So I told them to stand over here a certain way. I'm kind of, like every band is like a jigsaw puzzle. I was kind
Did you give them a milk crate to stand on?
No, I took care of that. I mean, I know how to shoot. Like if there's shorter people, you actually bring them forward, and you use a longer lens, and you put the taller guys in the back, and you lower, and they look just as tall of them. And if you look in the opened up, because it's a 12-inch, and you open it, you'll see my picture. It's like the big double page, and you'll see Glenn looks just as tall as everyone else. But one of the things they weren't really cooperating with is like I wanted them to lean forward a little bit, because everyone was kind of like leaning back like that, and their chins were kind of doubling, and I'm trying to make them look good. So I tried a few tricks and talking to them, but they weren't even listening to me. So then what I do a lot at my photo shoots with all the bands that I've been working with all these years, this is like 86, I think, or 87, is I'll take their shoulders, and I'll like, move them. So I'll like, physically grab them,
Yeah.
move them, and I might like tickle them or something if I, kid around a little bit. I wasn't gonna do that with these guys, but I did.
Tickling Glenn Danzig.
Hey, he never said that's who it was.
I mean, Don Dokken or Brett Michaels get away with it, But I wasn't gonna do that. But I did physically start moving them one at a time. And when I got to Glenn, he's like, "Don't touch me." I'm like,
Oh.
all right. And then we finished the roll up, and I said, "All right, I think we got it."
Was he intimidating?
No, I mean,
Mark, don't touch me.
Oh man.
I take it personally, but it's like, all right, I'm just trying to do my job, make you look
Right.
good. But
Yeah.
they didn't want to hear about it, so we braved through another hour, and then they came out. They said, "Look, we want to do one more shot." I was like, "All right," and they come out without shirts on, and I didn't. I was like, "All right, let's do that." And
And they're like,
all right, let's do that.
And they're like, definitely don't touch me now.
I wanted to say, how about we put the shirts back on?
Oh man.
But everyone loved the photo. Actually, a couple of days later, I called the art director up. I said, how did everyone like it? He goes, "Yeah, everyone loved the shoot, but Glenn wants to shoot with you again." He goes, "What did you do?" I told him. He goes, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that."
You touched him.
I shouldn't have touched him. Yeah.
Forget about it.
Wow.
That's crazy.
See, things that if Larry was sober, we would never know.
Oh, that's funny.
Good stuff. Good stuff indeed.
Oh wait, might have our special guest here.
Oh, hey.
Hold on, let me say here.
All right.
They're in the car, so we're gonna let's see.
Are they trying to do it from the car?
Is that possible?
Sure. We'll see.
It's
Gotta try.
possible.
Hold on. Let's see.
Meanwhile, chat room, you guys, I see lots of chatter going on. Feel free to ask all kinds of questions if you'd like to when this guest comes in, and we'll just wing it. And if we see some good questions from the chat room, we'll ask him or her. Or it. Maybe it's a robot. We'll see.
All right, let's see what happens here. So this next guy, if we get him on, he's someone that was equally responsible for a certain person in a band that we've been talking about, and also it's someone that I've shot and done a lot of work with. Great guy. They're still touring around, and yeah, it's like a lot of the bands they're playing bigger venues that they did back from in the 80s, and there's a lot of these package concerts, and the kids in the audience are still getting younger, and that's another reason why I decided to do the magazines, because give them something that they can start, because you're not going to get a 50 or 60-year-old hanging up centerfolds, but you will get a 20-year-old or a 15-year-old. So I'm hoping that that happens.
Yeah.
True that. Nice.
So let's see.
Are you pulling out some material from your book there?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So what's that? Nothing but a good time?
Nothing but a...
Yes.
Actually, I'd love to talk about this for a second. Because it's been... I've been reading it over the last month, and it's been such a little joy to like see your name come up and go like, "Oh, Mark." How did this all come about? Like, what was the experience you had with the authors? Because this is all. If you haven't read this, it's a really incredible book about getting a glimpse on what it was like to be there on the Sunset Strip during the time of the whole like 80s rock thing. So what was your experience like working with the authors about?
Right.
Like,
Well, this guy Richard Beanstalk, he's the one that was the writer in my book that helped me.
Oh, okay.
My book.
Yeah.
And so we worked together for a while, and then he told me about this. I contributed some photographs, and they also interviewed me, and I'm also in the documentary too, quite a bit. That's out there.
Yeah, I heard about that, and I haven't seen it yet.
It's like I think it's 3 episodes, and
Right.
it's pretty good. It got some good reviews. Richard's a writer, and he's been writing for years, and yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't got to read it yet. You said, Darrell, it's like a lot of interviews and stuff, and just kind of pulling the curtain back a little bit.
Yeah, so the great thing, my perspective of it being like a preteen and stuff when this was going on, we were receiving this entire world from MTV.
Yeah.
Being in nowhere, Alabama. But then reading this book, it's just so fascinating to see like this little microcosm that it was, where all these guys knew each other. A lot of them like interacted together, hung out, partied, played in different bands that you'd never heard of because like those bands never went anywhere. But then they went on to be in other bands that finally you heard of. It was just such this like tiny little world, but that's not how it seemed to us on the as 12-year-olds looking at
Right.
MTV. We just thought it was like this huge world of glam and
What we saw on MTV was 24/7.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And I guess for some of them it probably was.
But I mean, this book talks about like these guys, have day jobs and like, struggling and like going out every day to like bang up their posters just to get, a couple of like 30 people to come to their shows at like whatever little dingy club they were playing at.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really fascinating book because it was all from the perspective of the people. It's an interview book. It's not written. It's not like a narrative written by an author. It's like word of mouth from the people who were there.
So they're trying to get on, and it says the stream link is already in use. Is there?
Oh no, really?
Oh wow, we tested all this.
I know, we totally tested it. The stream link is in use.
Should we give him a new one, or
is there?
I texted you his number.
Okay.
Oh.
If you want to send it to something new or whatever.
Okay. Let's see. You had how many links did you have? Extra 2.
We had 2, yeah.
So
we didn't use the first one. Should I send him the one from
another one?
Yeah.
Give him that one?
Yeah.
All right, let me try to do that.
I'm excited.
Name tag be wrong? Is it weird?
Well, you can
Figure
swap it out.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, man. We just want to see. We just want to see what happens.
I will
try to.
The viewers are getting a first-hand experience of how the sausage is made.
Every time.
Every time. Stay tuned, everyone.
If there weren't technical difficulties, then the show wouldn't be near as interesting.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, So, what did you like about that? Nothing but a good time. Did you read it? Or
Darrell just got up and left.
Yeah, Darrell's trying to figure.
Well, why don't you read something out of it? Go ahead,
Yeah.
do a little narrative.
Let's see here.
Pick anything.
Grab something.
Let's see. Let's see. I don't know if this is open to that, but you want to just grab like a random.
Yeah, just grab a random.
Right there.
I can't see.
You can't see.
Here's Darrell.
Darrell.
I don't have my glasses, and I'm.
We're gonna have you do a book
He
reading.
wants to know what you thought. He wants you.
No,
to
just do a reading while we're waiting for our special guest.
Well, actually, yeah, I was looking at.
I like the name of this chapter right here. What does that say? Or this quote?
I broke Nikki's nose. I broke Tommy's nose. I punched poor Mick just for the heck of it.
Right there.
Sounds like a Motley Crue.
We should do like guess who said that? Like guess who?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You mentioned something earlier.
It looks like they're in the. It looks like they're in the car there. Do you see it? Are they trying to get in?
I see a car.
Oh yeah, we have a front.
Okay, we have visuals on something here in the studio.
We have something.
Oh,
We have
they're
something.
driving somewhere.
We have something.
There's a hand.
There's a hand.
It froze.
And fade to black.
Oh, right. No, you had mentioned something earlier, Mark, and I was like, oh my God, I just read something about that like a couple of weeks ago in this book. When I first found Randy for Ozzy, George Lynch was actually my second pick. And when Randy died in the plane crash in Florida, I was the person that held the auditions and brought Jake and George in. Do we know who said that?
I don't know. Let's wait and see. Oh, there's Mark.
Oh, let's see. Can we see something here?
Is there any audio?
Do we hear anything?
Not yet. I see a visual.
Hold on.
Hold on 1 second, folks.
They've been holding.
Hold. It's like, was it Braveheart that did that? Hold. And
I thought it was the CarMax commercial.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, he's
That's the one
driving.
with the pig hanging out the window, isn't it? No, it's Geico. Never mind.
Oh, you like that commercial. Wee! And what was his name?
Nelson Wilson. Nelson. Was it?
Wilbur?
No.
Willie?
Wee.
Yeah, we. Oh, we
We're
have
here.
visual. We have visual.
Huh?
We don't have audio, though. We don't have audio yet.
We have no audio, but we have some visual.
Isn't this the problem we have every time somebody tries to do this from their phone?
Guys, I just show up when they tell me
have a
to.
problem
The,
with that
the
earlier.
audio never works.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
No.
Oh, technical thing.
So read another quote. We'll come back to that one.
Okay, after Randy died, Ozzy had Brad Gillis from Night Ranger playing guitar for him for a little bit. And I left Dawkins, okay, that's a little giveaway, for a minute and toured with Ozzy. I never played on stage during a live show, but I would go up and play at sound checks and at rehearsals. They were grooming me, basically. Then we did rehearsals in Dallas for a week or two, and then I flew back to LA to do more rehearsals at SIR, and that's when they got Jake.
Maxwell. That's the name of the pig.
Maxwell.
Is that what you read before this one? Oh, see, look, Paul got it in the chat room.
Oh!
Dana Strum said that.
Yeah!
You got it. Wow. Good job, Paul.
Is somebody like intimately familiar with this book?
He is.
Wow.
Wow.
Or maybe the inner workings.
Copy
of...
who, by the way, in the chat room.
Yeah, I was put in a bad position because I was told, Dana, yeah, we're going with this other guy. And I was like, but this guy quit his job. He's got his bags here. And then Jake had the gig. So That was Dana Strum.
Who is
from
Slaughter?
Bad Axe, right?
Bad Axe. That's right. He was from Bad Axe.
Originally from Bad Axe. And then he also was with Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
That's right.
But then Slaughter.
Right.
Most recently.
Right.
And from the beginning, really. But he was instrumental in getting... he introduced Randy Rhoads, right?
And Jake too, actually.
And
Jakey
and Jakey Lee, but he was trying to push George Lynch,
right,
to get the job with Ozzy after.
I think it worked out for everybody.
Because George has a bit of a reputation, doesn't he?
Well, they had quite the success.
Yeah.
Yeah, all involved had quite the success. So,
And if I could ask Dana Strum one question, I would ask him about the time he played a concert in a Taco Bell parking lot.
Oh yeah.
But alas, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll meet him.
Yeah, one day.
What happened? Where did they play at the Taco Bell? What's the story on that?
You'll have to ask him. I forget where it was. Where was it?
Miami?
Miami, maybe? Yeah, in Florida. Yeah. Yeah, like in 87, maybe.
Was that part of a contest or anything like that?
I think it was later than that.
Or no, it would have been later, probably 89.
I remember when they.
No, it wasn't a contest. It was like some sort of, like I think Taco Bell was
having a metal fest?
donating the money to charity or something. I don't know exactly the details, but anyway.
I had forgotten that he was with Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
Yeah,
that's when I actually met them because I did the back cover for the second album.
Oh.
And we did that in New York on the steps of, I think it was the library or some official building right by my studio.
With the lions?
Yeah. And then we became friends, and then when Slaughter was developed, they brought me on, and we're still friends. We talk a lot, and he's out there. They're doing great. I mean, today the light shows are amazing because they have all these LEDs and the graphics, and it's like, it looks better than it did back then. And
sure, yeah,
it's like effortless now. They just click a few buttons. Sometimes there's a guy walking around with a little pad, and so it's pretty cool.
I think I saw Slaughter once or twice. I know. I think they opened for Kiss one time.
Oh, he might be calling Mark right now.
Hey, brother.
Hey, brother, I'm trying to access it, but for some reason the baud rate's not fast enough. And I'm driving right now.
All right.
You can throw me on speaker if you want until I get on like a regular, not in the middle of bumfuck Kentucky.
All right. Well, they're in bumfuck Tennessee.
Yeah,
Alabama.
There you go.
Oh, Alabama.
Even worse.
So, yeah.
Well, we can talk, right? This is Mark Slaughter on the phone here.
Hey,
Mark.
We were just speaking about our photo shoot that we did with Vinny over by my studio in New York. Actually, right when you called.
Yeah. That was my first photo session of like a legitimate. I mean, right before that, a month before that, I was teaching guitar in Vegas. I wasn't even a singer. So all of a sudden, baptism by fire. They did my hair blonde, and all of a sudden, I'm taking pictures with world famous Mark Weiss. It's pretty cool.
That is amazing.
Teaching.
It's crazy because with Mark, I was like, I saw his name and all the, with Ozzy and with Van Halen and all the all the people I looked up to. I was like, holy, he's like the real deal. So for my first photo session, I was pretty excited about it.
Yeah, and I had no idea because he was he seemed like a seasoned pro. He had a lot of confidence. He looked great, and it just fit. He fit right in. But really, like they came into their own when they had Slaughter. Like when I shot them as a band, that was like the real deal for these guys.
Yeah.
And they're still killing it, right? You guys just
Still killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did a show. It was a great show. We were also playing with Stephen Piercy and Warren DeMartini and
No shit.
but
Wow.
it was so hot that the Vixen girls. I mean, there's a lot of people were overheating left and right.
Vixen.
I mean, it was hot. Yeah.
Vixen, nice.
Wow.
That's
I don't know if
crazy.
you can hear us, but can you ask him about the Taco Bell parking lot?
Taco Bell.
He said that there's a Taco Bell that you played in Taco Bell in where, Miami or Florida somewhere?
Yeah, yeah. So what happened? It's a funny story because what we did is when we bought our houses for the first time, I was like, yeah, man, because it was like in the middle of nowhere, but they built a Taco Bell, so it's kind of like, the way we looked at it is if they built a Taco Bell there, then they must be expecting it to grow because Taco Bell doesn't just build a Taco Bell in the middle of nowhere. So we talked about it in the interview. And then the president of, we said, yeah, we go there all the time. So the corporate Taco Bell reaches out to us and said, we'd like to do, like a thing, like a show or something with you guys and have Taco Bell involved. So we ended up doing a show. As we were touring with Kiss, we did an acoustic set in a Taco Bell parking lot. And all the money that was raised for that, it was 10 cents of every drink in the state of Florida. They gave it to the Miami Coalition for Drug Abuse.
Wow.
So, yeah, we raised thousands of dollars that day. And we had a good time. We had these cars that gave us free Taco Bell. So we'd pull the bus up to every Taco Bell. It was like, all of a sudden, all right, let's go get some Taco Bell. So it was good fun, but, have to keep the windows cracked as we're driving down the road.
That was my next question.
Yeah, man. Yeah, nobody light a match. Exactly.
Nice.
So Mark, we're talking about magazines and stuff. I know you came late on the show because you wouldn't have a chance to chime in, but I started this new magazine, and I showed you guys on the cruise.
Yeah.
You guys are in it.
Yeah.
But so we're just talking about like the good old days with the magazines, with the centerfolds and the pinups, and
quite honestly, that is the current of what it used to be. I mean, for all the vinyl enthusiasts, it's truly like what the albums were back in the day. That's what the magazines were like back in the day.
Yeah.
Glossy, good paper, real stories, real interviews, real stuff. And again, it's great to be a part of that, and I'm hoping that we can, Mark can continue that forward because I think it's a little taste of nostalgia that we all love and knew and still like to put on our coffee table and browse through,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to hear about this. You were teaching guitar in Las Vegas. Like, what is that story?
Well, I was out of high school. I became a guitar teacher.
Okay.
And I taught about 279 lessons per month is what I was teaching.
Wow.
And so I had a lot of kids coming through, and I had a really good rapport with players and people learning. And then what happened is I got a call from Dana. He was producing a band called Sin at the time, and he called up and said, "Hey, I hear you're a singer. Why don't you come down to the studio?" And I said, "Well, he called me at the music store, and which is pretty funny because that's what he did to Randy. I guess that's just kind of his motif." And he called me up and he said, "Look, can you come down here? I need vocals, this evening." And I said, "Okay, well." I moved a couple students around, and I drove down to Burbank, where he had the studios, where Quincy Jones was recording Michael Jackson at the time.
Yeah.
And I went in, and Tommy Thayer was there, and a whole bunch of other people that I knew, and that's the first time I met Dana in 1985. And then I sang backgrounds on that Sin record. And Dana's like, man, I think this guy's going to do something. And next thing I know, Robert wasn't touring, and they put me in the Invasion. So I went right from baptism by fire to teaching guitar to saying goodbye to my students to holding a microphone with no safety net or blanket, and opened up for Alice Cooper and then Iron Maiden. So it was,
Wow. Did you have a moment where like you were standing somewhere going, what just happened?
oh yeah, I was 21 and a half at the time. So it was like, holy crap,
Yeah.
it was crazy. So, I was still a fan of all this music,
Yeah.
all these bands. So to me, it was what a incredible, feeling. In fact, the first tour with Alice, like a week later, I went into a toy store, and it was hard. I mean, we were glammed out of our tree. Our hair was 4 feet high, and we were opening for Alice Cooper, which is a harder edge band, Alice's band. So we go out there, and people are, they'd throw shit at us and spit on us. And I said, you know what, I've had it. So I went over to a toy store, and I bought a whole tray of silly string. I started walking up to the counter, and Alice steps out. He's got 2 dolls in both hands, and he looks at me, he goes, finally, a lead singer as demented as me.
Yes. That's great. You knew you had arrived.
I was like, this is awesome. It was great. And, and honestly, right after that was when I shot with Mark, which is when we had the poster that was a funky poster is what it was. And it was shot in Detroit in the Chrysalis building. Was one of that was the first session, and the second session was over in New York at the Empire State Building, which he had a studio at.
Cool. Wow. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So when Invasion was, on the horizon for you and everything, like how exactly did that, did you know Vinny beforehand, or how did that?
I did, and Vinny is, Vinny's Vinny, and
Sure.
And I don't think it was something that really worked for him. But inevitably he needed a singer, and I was the guy. The record label liked me, Chrysalis did. So I ended up, working, with him. We ended up doing, after we did those 2 tours, we ended up doing, doing the record, All Systems Go, and then the demise of the band started. And it was just kind of like, I think Vinny wanted to be a guitar hero like Yngwie Malmsteen, and he was just doing, and it was all about him playing solos, and we were about the songs, and so that there was unrest there. Next thing you know, they dropped Vinny off the label, and they gave me his record deal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the reason why that happened, of all people, is from Steve Stevens, because Steve Stevens left Chrysalis, and they made everybody who was in any band sign a leaving member agreement, which meant that they had a choice to pick up the option of the artist
Right.
on there. So they picked up my option. I had a letter in the mail that said, we're exercising your option. You need to record 4 songs, in which we actually went and in 1988 going on to 89, we went into Record Plant, and we recorded, 4 of the songs that are off the first record, Stick It To You.
Wow, that and Mark, obviously you don't know us personally, but we're 49, 50 years old, so we were definitely the target market for your music back then, and that's a really cool story about how that came to be, because I actually didn't discover, Vinnie Vincent Invasion music until after Slaughter, and then went back and was like, hey, did you know that this guy was the singer?
Yeah.
And it's just so
connecting the dots.
so amazing to see the dots connected,
Yeah, it's crazy how incestuous this whole business is. I mean, if you think, when I was a local band in Las Vegas, we were looking for a bass player, and this guy named Kelly said that, somebody said, hey, Kelly, be perfect for you guys. He just moved his T, but, he would love to play with you guys. He heard about you. So we have this guy, Kelly, and it was Kelly Garney from Quiet Riot.
Oh
yeah.
So he was original bass player of Quiet Riot with Randy and
Yeah.
Rudy and all those guys. So it's like, no matter what in this business, there's a few select people, that will rise to that will inevitably find their way, but they're still part of the same high school. We're all still schooling ourselves and going to class and how to do what this is, whatever we're doing,
Yeah, and before you joined in, Darrell was actually talking about that in the book, Nothing But a Good Time, like how it kind of peels that layer back, and you see like all these people that we obviously idolized and looked as the rock stars. Everybody seemed to know everybody and interconnect, and it wasn't at all like we had in our feeble 13, 14-year-old minds.
Right.
Right. No, it's and you just kind of would run into the same pool of people, and just like tonight. I mean, it's like a high school reunion. Everybody, you see all your friends, and you go, "Hey, how you been?" Oh, I guess we have a show with you in November or wherever. It's like you're seeing these same people that have been a part of your life for 35, 40 years, and it's pretty mind-boggling that it's been that long anyway. But we're blessed to be able to do that. We're still out here, knocking it out. And,
Absolutely.
With this magazine, I mean, I think the key point is with this is we're really trying to, keep that alive. And I think that's the beauty of all this. It's nostalgia, but it's also something that we all know and love, and we're all a part of.
Hey, and let me just say, as a 50-year-old, hard rock fan from back in the day that dabbled with the eyeliner and the spandex myself at the local skating rink.
Yeah, there you go.
I think it's absolutely amazing that in 2025, the bands that we grew up with, that we listened to, can still go out there and do that, because there was definitely a time when it seemed like that wasn't going to be the thing. And my wife is about 4 years younger than me, so she missed all of that on the first go around, and then there was that lull, and then as soon as that that era of music kind of started making its comeback on the tour circuit, she's been able to go with me and see a bunch of the bands that I saw originally, and I've been able to see lately. I just think it's absolutely amazing that we still get. I have a 20-year-old son that's got to go see a lot of the bands that I saw before he was even born. So
right. Well, and the beauty of it is it's this music represents it's a celebration. I mean, I think that's the key with it all. Grunge had its thing, and a lot of the bands after that, had its aggression and its thing. But I think it's very heartfelt, and it was a lot of fun. And I think that's what people are. Times are tough, and when times are tough, everybody goes to the thing that makes them happy, or people find the things that make them happy. And this music is upbeat. I mean, it makes you feel good.
Absolutely, I agree 100% on that, and the touring and like you said, you get to play shows with like the high school reunion almost. there was a time when, of course, the record industry was different. You put out a record and bands went to tour to support the record, and that's not as much. I'm not saying that bands don't, still make new music, of course, but with the industry changing and everything, I can just tell you as a lifelong rock fan, I just appreciate the fact that the opportunity is there. It may be an hour and a half drive or something like that to be able to go catch a show, but just to have that opportunity is really, really cool.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's the beauty of this is it unites people, and what Mark's doing on this, with this magazine, that's the whole idea. It's bringing all that stuff forward, and you see these pictures and you go, oh my God, look how young I was. I was in my early 20s when all this stuff was going on. So, you had another 35, 40 years on it. You're like, holy, there it is.
I wore what?
Yeah. All right, I got a question for you, and this might be difficult for me to get out because I'm trying to navigate all of the timelines and everything. But okay, so it's 1990 when your album came out?
Right, correct.
Yeah. So you guys were like the tail end of that scene, but nobody knew. We
were the last wave.
Yeah, but nobody knew like when a scene was going to end. But there it was, and like my 13-year-old girlfriend loved you guys.
Back then, 13-year-old back then.
Your current one right now?
Hey, what is that? Oh my, where did that come from? No, back in 1990, my 13-year-old girlfriend loved you guys. Was there like, how was it hard? Was it difficult navigating that, like being at the tail end of a scene and then like?
No, nobody really looked at it as like this is the end of it.
Yeah.
It was just that things are changing. I think that the only thing that I can honestly say, and Mark would attest to this with all the bands, what we were in 1990 to what we were in 1992, we had toughened up a little bit.
Sure.
I think that's kind of what happens. The band never played a show live ever before the first record was out.
Yeah, right.
Came out. We did our first show, which Mark was at, with Kiss and Winger, and at that show they handed us a gold record, which Mark took that picture.
Wow.
First, so we came off the stage and they handed us a gold record, and I said to Dana at the time, I go, I think we did something right.
Yeah.
He said, I don't think so, Marcus, and that was it. we were on our way, and so, but as we were on tour with Kiss, and we realized that when we put the gas on it, so to speak, the band became more of a live band. So we applied that to the Wildlife record.
Yeah.
And the Wildlife record was out. We ended up touring with Ozzy Osbourne on the No More Tears tour, and then we took a break because I had a little vocal issue for a minute, and then we ended up doing Damn Yankees for the rest of that year. And then after that, that's when the whole shift happened. And if you look at any decade of music, whether it's you go to the 50s with the doo-wop and all that stuff, to the 60s, which is kind of the going into the Beatles, and then the 70s, which is the love thing, and then to the 80s, it became just everything in excess. That was the end of the excess movement, and people had to kind of grow up and be responsible, and then that's kind of where grunge kicked in.
Yeah.
So every 10 years it changed, and then obviously with Napster and what happened with the music industry, it became less important. The publishers didn't stand up for the artists; they just threw their hands up in the air, and lo and behold, MTV stopped playing music.
Yeah, right.
I'll never forget the day. They said in '92, they said when the programmer for K-Rock, which is the largest how should I put it, alternative station, became the president of the record label. He said, I will no longer play Motley Crue, Slaughter, Warren, named a few, Rat, a few other bands. And that was it. The biggest station in the nation said they weren't going to play us anymore, and all the other stations said, we're not going to do it. And that was it.
Man, yeah, that's just so, like you said, back when they played music, now you have to have MTV2 where they actually play music videos.
How do you stare a barrel like that in your face and look forward and go like, what is my life going to be like going forward?
Well, I think that, the band in the mid-90s was a very, very difficult time for the band.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't cool at all to be in this band. Because we were, a lot of us looked at us, like MTV's little darlings because they played the shit videos.
Yeah.
But, MTV didn't do it anymore. And everybody was just trying to find new music. And, that went on for a while. We played clubs, we played shitholes, we toured around, and the band kept going. A lot of bands just took a break. We kept going. So I think with that, there's a little bit more fire and again, you fight harder. If you have it in you, you fight for it. If you're sick, you fight. If you want to live, you're going to fight for it.
Right.
And, that's how you do it.
Well, we definitely appreciate, you guys and every other band that, even if the ones that took a little hiatus that decided to, ultimately push on through because, I've grew up a big Motley Crue fan and, read the interviews and stuff and seen, how they went from playing stadiums to, small venues during that mid-90s range and everything. And, it could have died out. It could have died out, but people pushed through, and thank goodness the fans, stuck with it, and was enough there to keep everybody going.
Yeah, it makes you feel good. I mean, that's a key point. This music, no matter what, it makes you feel good. We played to 2,900 people tonight, and Tina stepped up to the mic before Flight of the Angels. We dedicated it to Ozzy, and for all he did for us and the years as we were trying to be as musicians. Black Sabbath influenced us before that. I mean, both Dana and myself and all the other band members, Jordan and Lando. I mean, this is what we cut our teeth on. So it's pretty crazy, it really is. But life is one of those things. You play your music, and we're entertainers. It's not a talent contest. It's just go out and entertain, and hopefully make somebody's day a little brighter, as the music did for us when we first started.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yep. That's awesome, Mark. Thanks so much.
Well, I'm sorry the video's not working, but again, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and it is what it is.
Yeah, man. I mean, no, you came through loud and clear, so we
think
really
about it this way:
appreciate
if it was back in the '80s, early '90s, we wouldn't have had video anyway.
Yeah. It would be pretty much this.
Yeah. Great. Awesome.
And I appreciate you sharing, some of your thoughts, like you said, on Mark's magazine Rocked, and the pinups and the photo shoots and all that being just like you said, part of the life that we all lived.
Yeah, right.
It really is. The crazy part of it is music, along with what he took visually, is the hourglass of our life. You look at those pictures and you listen to that music, and it takes you back to a simpler time. Malls were open and actually had fashion.
Yeah.
You're barely surviving, and there's no fashion. It's like the Great Depression clothing.
Exactly.
there is no style, and that's crazy. It's just we're in this. Our cell phones are $1,000 plus cell phones. People buy phones now; they don't buy records.
Yeah.
A little percentage of what people had in their household is a different thing. It's not their priority when they can just stream it from whatever streaming service, and they do it for pennies to the artist. So, look, it is what it is. But we're glad to be a part of it, and we're glad that we've been a part of people's life. And we're still out here doing it, and we still love it. Ultimately, we still love it. So hopefully, everybody will get into the magazine and become a part of that, help that go forward. And until then, we want to thank everybody for what they've done.
Absolutely, and like you said, pick up the magazine, and for anybody watching, if any of the bands, whether it be Slaughter or whoever comes into your area and you got a chance to go see them, man, let's support that. Let's support that because.
And bring that magazine forward. We'll all sign it. Any one of the musicians look at those pictures, and it's people are glad to sign that because that's where we came from.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Mark. Really appreciate you coming on.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a great evening. And Mark, you know where to find me, and love you. And we'll talk to you guys here soon.
All right.
Drive safe.
Yeah, drive safe. Take care.
All right.
See you, brother.
Catch you cats later. Take care.
Take care,
Yeah.
buddy.
Mark Slaughter, everybody. That was great. Yeah.
That was great.
Right.
Did not know that coming here tonight. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
We didn't even know. We thought it was a different person actually. So that was great. Wow. Freaking cool, man.
I just love going down that memory lane, and
Well, it's just cool to see it from the perspective of the peoples who were there. You know,
cut through all
Mark
the,
and
cut through all the rumors and all
yeah.
the hearsay and all this stuff.
Mark
Just
and
hear it
Mark,
from one person. Yeah.
all the
Mark and
Marks,
Mark. All the Marks.
Marky
yeah.
and Mark.
Yeah.
Who just like were there, and we have our perspectives. It's just cool to see the.
I thought it was really cool that Mark Slaughter said, kind of mirrored what we were talking about earlier, with Mark Weiss being, it's that time capsule that's captured, that I think he used the phrase hourglass and
yeah, right.
I said that, we viewed life through Mark Weiss's lens,
Allow me to be absolutely honest and upfront about this. As a 13-year-old kid, Slaughter was for my girlfriend, not for me. We thought that band was cheesy, but now I have a whole new perspective on it because they were just guys who loved playing music and they just wanted to do it, and they're still doing it today. All this time, and so I just have a whole new respect.
Exactly.
Because I have a different vantage point.
And I was glad that he entertained us with the story about the Taco Bell. In fact, our producer over here, he has a clip of a little news.
We'll get to see a little bit of that.
That was played on the local news about Slaughter at the Taco Bell. Roll the clip.
Oh, this is going to be new.
Musicians. In their continuing quest to be true to their fans, this band on the run recently held a free concert in the parking lot of a Miami, Florida Taco Bell. How'd they pick that location? Well, they were in town, it's their favorite restaurant, and Taco Bell agreed to donate money to a local drug rehab center. Fans were notably impressed by the band's generosity.
Well, it just proves that they're not so interested in money and just to please the fans, just like the fans are just yelling and screaming and showing them how much we love them often.
I didn't really care for Slaughter that much before, but now they're excellent. They did an excellent set.
I never saw Slaughter in my life, and he's really cute.
I want you. I want you. And we want you to want us.
We do want you. And for those fans who missed the band on their cross-country treks, there's an hour-long video which chronicles their first year on the road, a time they dare other bands to live up to.
Playing Taco Bell parking lots.
Yeah,
Keeping ourselves in a garage.
Playing in living rooms, playing in Taco Bell parking
I
lots.
challenge Skid Row or Motley Crue to go play at Taco Bell. I haven't seen it done yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd actually never seen that before.
That's funny.
I saw them on that tour.
You
The
saw them, really?
Kiss and Winger and Slaughter. Yeah. They played at the Civic Center.
Yeah, no, we went to that show together, I think. That was what, like 91?
90, 91?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you, me, and Carol went.
Oh, is that the one where her mom
Yes!
acted like she was
Yeah!
handicapped so we could
handicapped.
get in the side entrance and got good seats?
Yeah, I remember sitting outside waiting to get in. Oh, isn't that the year that we saw Eric from afar? Not you, the drummer.
Eric Carr.
Eric Carr. We saw him from afar, like off the side, and
I
we were
can't
like, "Hey,
remember.
look, it's him
I can't remember
backstage."
if it was that one or the one before, but
I think it was that one.
anyway.
Yeah. Anyway,
Good stuff. Good
it was
stuff.
good stuff. Yeah.
But it is cool to get the perspective from, the artists looking back,
Yeah.
from their point of view.
Yeah.
Also. So that's
That's cool.
yeah, but like you said, I mean, 13-year-old us probably didn't appreciate them as much, but then like you said, you realize these are just guys playing rock and roll, playing the music that they love, and
Well, I can attest to the fact that growing up and like getting into certain industries, film industry, specifically the puppet world, like all of these communities are a lot smaller than we think they are, and we see them on TV and it seems big and glamorous and worldwide, but it's really just like a small network of people who know each other, and once you're in it, you start you meet this person, you meet that person,
Which actually kind of brings us back to who knew Mark Weiss took 90% of all the pictures on our walls back in the day.
I mean that Motley Crue with them on the car.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the theater painting.
I just that was just hanging in your bedroom forever.
Oh, I know. That's the
that was like a
best.
centerpiece of your bedroom.
Yeah.
So for Mark, I guess I want to know. So in that time, you're shooting all of this stuff. You're shooting these bands. Some of them go on to great success. Some of them you come in after they've reached success. Any thought in your mind as a young photographer back then that what you were capturing was, 25, 35, 40 years later, we're going to be sitting here talking about it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't think that era was really gonna go away. I thought it was unstoppable. Because Warrant had a huge record. The Cherry Pie, and then Slaughter was about the same time period, and then of course everything turned. But those were both killer albums that did great. It's just that they couldn't follow it up because they didn't have the support of what got them there.
Right.
And me being a photographer of all those bands that sold millions of records, I thought my career was locked in. I didn't know that 2 or 3 years later. I mean, I had a little bit more run because Skid Row was touring around the world, and I was documenting with my video camera and photographing them. So I had a good couple of years before they kind of dispersed. But I tried to shoot Alice in Chains. I mean, I did do sessions with Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and all those bands. I was working for Metal Hammer. I had to switch because all the magazines were not really doing
right.
But I thought I had to hide all my previous work. Once they found out I did Bon Jovi and Poison and all these bands, they were like, oh, we don't really like taking photos, and they didn't. I just shot a few portraits, and that was it. With these bands, they like to shoot them. I shot them against the train, and then in the hallway, and it was a pinup on this. Every time I shot them against a different color, or they wore a different jacket, it was a few bucks in my pocket because it would be a different photo. So I quickly had to figure it out, because there was no business for me either right away.
I imagine like a lot of the bands, at the time when the success was there and that movement was huge, the concept or the thought, especially being younger, that this is ever going to change probably never crosses your mind, like, oh, I've got it made. I'm going to be I'm going to be photographing this stuff forever.
But it's interesting to think that, musical tastes change, but there's always music and there's always media for music. But it's so fascinating to see that, even the photographers had a fallout from the crash of all of this. It's like now,
there's like ripples that just
it wasn't. The thing is, as a photographer, they were interesting to shoot, but they weren't fun. You know what I mean? It wasn't fun. It wasn't a fun decade.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
they didn't want to be photographed. They just knew they had to.
Yeah, you went from the multiple hour photo sessions with, I guess the band's having fun doing different stuff to.
Yeah.
The
a half hour with
the guys in flannel
staring at their shoes.
Kind of reluctantly showing up for their obligatory photo shoot.
But what I did was, the way I kind of transcended into continuing on is one of my assistants or my secretary said, you got to check out this band, the Backstreet Boys. They're in Teen Magazine,
the pop world.
Right. So I said, if you can get me a photo shoot with them, I'll shoot them. Tell them to come to my studio. And she made a deal where they would hire a stylist and everything. So it was I think it might have been one of their very first photo shoots. And the record company paid for the hair and makeup because they needed a big photo shoot. And they wanted it to be a little glammy. So I kind of fit that a little bit. And so I shot them in all these different outfits. And then they started doing video shoots. I started doing that. Then NSYNC came out, and I did them too. Justin, when he was 16, I started working for a German magazine called Bravo. And then I started shooting Christina Aguilera at her first video, Genie in a Bottle, and she liked me.
God bless you. That was a fantastic.
She liked me and took me on the road. I became her photographer, and I did an album cover for Christina, and then Gwen Stefani, and Lil' Kim, and then I started doing this rap. So I segued into all these, the pop, hip hop world, and I liked it. It was fun for me. I wasn't crazy about the music, but they were fun. Black Eyed Peas were fun. They were like rock stars, and because of my connection through Bravo magazine, which was the biggest German magazine, and they would break there first before these pop bands before they broke in America. I had all this access to do photo shoots.
Wow.
Pussycat Dolls, all these bands, the Maroon 5. So I have a big body of work from 90 to 2000 or 2005 of behind the scenes of all this, Usher, Chris Brown, Destiny's Child.
Oh man,
wow.
Yeah, you were there for all of it.
So that's still in the closet because it's I want to be known as a rock photographer, and it's at some point I will do a book of that, but if I ever get around to it. I mean, my heart's not really into it, but it would be interesting to show everyone what I did for a good 10 years, you know what I mean?
Well, sure, and even that genre of music, or those genres that don't necessarily appeal to us, there's a whole world of people that's their world.
That's huge. That's huge. Yeah.
And then when Kiss came back in '96, that was kind of the very infant part of rock and metal coming back, even though it was '96. By 2000, it started getting a little more interest in these bands. I think like Poison, and they started playing again and getting together, and then they built themselves up again, 2000, 2010, and look where they are today. They're playing bigger places that they played back in the day.
Well, you had some other diverse shoots early on too, like Cheech and Chong and stuff like that. Did you ever shoot? For some reason, it came up today. Me and Darrell were in the
Mr.
car.
T.
Did you ever shoot Mr. T?
No, I shot. I shot him when he was doing the wrestling stuff with Cindy Lauper. Was he doing it with her? Or was that Mr.
Yeah,
T?
well, I know they both. I
Hulk
know they both
Hogan.
appeared at like WrestleMania.
Yeah, I did some. They did some shtick, and I took some photos of them. But I did work for Us magazine, and I shot like anywhere from Johnny Depp to Cheech and Chong to Rodney Dangerfield, Alec Baldwin, Cher. I mean, I shot all these. I shot Drew Barrymore when she was doing E.T. and I
No shit.
Oh,
That's great.
like photo shoots. I set up and they do press, and so I had that mainstream all throughout the '80s. I had the mainstream doing too. So I was not just the rock photographer. I have these images as well that.
That's
So
great.
I have lots of. I'm just not just the rock and roll that people know me as, but again, it will come out in a book. I also, shot pop. I mean, The Cure. I've done extensive photo shoots with Adam Ant. Anyone with an image.
Love that
Madonna,
stuff. Yeah.
So, but I would say about 15, 20 years ago is when I started branding my photography. And someone approached me I think in 95 or 2000 to, try to treat it as art, Henry Diltz and Jim Marshall, they shot Woodstock and all that. So they were thinking my photographs would be, worthy of, trying to hit that market. And I was like, no, this is too soon, and I kind of let it go for another 10 years until someone else invested in me and we started it up. And that's when I started, doing gallery shows, and it was a slow build. And now I'm the Morrison Hotel Gallery and at Wentworth Gallery, and I sell my art prints for, hundreds to thousands of dollars, to just sign away. Nice. I have one right here that someone just purchased of Ozzy in the bathtub.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
Nice.
I print them up and then I sign them, and they frame them and hang them in their house as art. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I do a little bit of everything. So,
Well,
Cool.
and what a remarkable, journey for everything. I mean,
Remarkable.
Oh, I see what you did
remarkable.
there.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, it'd be, obviously we're all saddened by Ozzy's passing. It'd be so easy for, and I'm sure there's going to be people that try to do a, quick cash money grab and cash in, unfortunately, on that. But, to see somebody like you that's been there from literally the very beginning, people can know, that's not what it's about. It's, preserving these snapshots of time, I mean,
Yeah.
where else you going to get that?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been, thinking about doing a book with Ozzy for the last 20 years, but it takes a while to do. It's you have to really have your heart in it and want to do it. And every few years I'd ask Sharon if, I said, you think it's time for me to do a book yet? And she's like, no, not yet. And I was like, all right. And in a way I don't want to do it because it's a lot of work, the decade
Right.
for 5 years. And I'd rather just do a quick fix with the magazine and just slap something together. But I think in years to come, I mean, I definitely would love. I want to do a book on Ozzy without a doubt, as well as Bon Jovi. Because Bon Jovi has their Slippery When Wet. I'm probably going to do I think my next book's going to be a Slippery When Wet book on all my photos from that tour and the album covers and outtakes, and that's the anniversary's in a little bit over a year, so I have time to do that.
Wow.
And then maybe after that I'll do one on Ozzy, but it's it's not like I'm just gonna put together a book right now on that.
Right.
But I'm sure there will be people doing that, like writers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, scrapping whatever they can together. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, when you've got that track record, with not just Ozzy, but, pretty much all of the bands, I think the credibility's there for that. So that You know, I think any argument or whatever about, you know, somebody cashing in or whatever, I would discount anybody that would say that, you know, right out the gate. So, you know,
I do, you know, I do my books because I want it to have a statement. I want that book to be, you know, passed down to generations, you know, so it really means a lot to put something.
And we want to be able to see that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're getting to be well, it's 11 here. It's probably midnight there, so I think we're at the end of the show. But
we went an hour over.
We did.
But it was really
we
awesome.
really appreciate it, Mark. It's such a pleasure to talk with you. Your work has been just an inspiration to us for all of our lives, really.
Literally.
And tell everybody where they can find all your stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you can go to markweiss.com, and there's a lot of stuff. You can get my gallery prints there, and also there'll be a page to go to the Kickstarter on my markweiss.com site. And check out our social media, Rock Mag. We've been posting a lot of stuff there. We're just starting out, so we need the likes to spread the word. And
all right, Eric and Darrell crew out there, all the Ed heads. You heard them. Let's do it.
And also, we're rolling credits right now from a movie that was already guessed by Jared Frank in the.
Oh, somebody already got it. Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat, 1986.
I know this movie because of Larry.
Ozzy
Because
Osbourne was in this movie.
I took
as a preacher.
Yes.
As a preacher.
Yeah.
Remember this movie, Mark?
I took photos of the of Ozzy and also the guy that was on Dancing with the Stars, or what's the guy's name? Who played
the lead guy?
Yeah, he played.
Played Skippy and Family Ties, right?
Right. I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
I forget what his name is.
Well, surely you took a picture of Gene Simmons also.
Yeah,
Gene
of course, it's got the famous
as
Gene
Nuke.
Simmons as the
DJ Nuke.
Yeah.
DJ Nuke was his name. That's funny. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What a great night.
Man, that's awesome, dude.
All right.
So, I mean, what's there to do now? What are you gonna do tonight? I guess go to bed.
Probably go to bed.
What time is it over there?
It's midnight.
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 Oh.
Mikkel's waiting for me, so
okay.
we'll be hanging out with her, watching a little TV, and who knows what will happen.
Tell her we appreciate.
Yeah, send her our
Give her-
love. You
yeah,
know, we
absolutely.
love Mikhail as well.
And let me tell you, the magazine would not even be a blimp if it wasn't for her, because she,
Absolutely.
I mean, I couldn't have found anyone to do it, and she designed every page in that, and the third issue and fourth issue is even going to be better. So I owe a lot to her. We're partners on this, and you know, my photos I took 40 years ago, I just hand them over to her, and she's the one that's got to slave over that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's a great designer.
Yeah.
Works out great.
It's really good.
Nice little write up on the last
And
page also.
a great personality, and yeah, she's a great gal.
Yeah, she's. You know, I noticed like the pages are like thick too. They're not like those.
Oh yeah, it's all the
It's
glossy.
not, yeah, it's not like, you know, like
newsprint.
Yeah, like grimy. You know, like like
this
a
is
phone book. You know, like it's.
You put that, you know, to an old magazine like this, you know, which looked good. It looked good back then, but it's like it's very flimsy, you know.
Yeah.
So we went all out and made sure that you know, it didn't do this. You can't do
That's
that.
right.
You know,
I can attest. It's right here. Look, it doesn't flop.
Exactly.
That's right. So yeah, drop the Kickstarter link one more time in the chat room, and yeah, and go support it. This is great.
And it's like a pre-order, really. It's not a handout or anything like that. It's just like there's rewards on it, and you can get gallery prints on it, and bundles and cool stuff like this little bundle we have. We call it the Rock Bundle.
Oh.
and you get 4 magazines, and you get a lot of these 8.5 by 11 prints.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, so you get there's a Van Halen bundle, there's a Motley bundle with 4 of those prints, and then there's a Guns N' Roses bundle.
Yeah.
So
A little bit of everything.
There's an Ozzy bundle too, and then there's this is the full bundle where you get 20 prints.
That's really cool.
You can make a whole gallery of these.
Yeah.
You get a nice little collector's case, you know.
That's really cool, man.
You can only get that on the Kickstarter. So
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Nice.
check it out and help support and help costs for production and printing.
And keeping rock in the forefront. I mean, that's what we need to do.
Yeah, that's it.
What?
I need a pin for E&D.
Oh.
E&D died. I need a pin.
Oh, what is the? I forget what.
3040. Said it online.
What's the pin to your ATM, Darrell? What's your credit card number, Darrell? Just tell us right now on the air.
Social Security.
All right. Well,
are we done? Are we out of here?
I think this is goodbye, everybody. Thanks for
081988.
And once our producer gets to log back into the computer,
machine.
we can sign off. But thanks again, Mark.
Thank you.
Oh, he's gonna have to get up and hit this. He's gonna unplug it. So, all right. Well, good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next month for another E&D Live.
Next month.
With Larry.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Peace. And we'll just sit here awkwardly until they unplug the machine.
My glasses.
Hey, I'm almost out of beer, so.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.